Chapter 1009. After receiving the teleportation jade charm from the heavenly fragrance restaurant to Jean Mi's gorgeous manor, Tang Ao left the Black Crow Market. To Tang Ao's surprise, when Tang Ao left the Black Crow Market, the little girl named Qing Ying gave Tang Ao a jade scroll. The jade scroll seemed to be sealed by an inscription array, and if Tang Ao didn't open the inscription array, he wouldn't be able to see the contents of the jade scroll. Thus, Tang Ao could only bring the jade scroll back to the heavenly fragrance restaurant. After returning to the heavenly fragrance restaurant, Tang Ao saw that the sword battle ring was surrounded by people. Some of these people had the arrows that Tang Ao had given back then, and some didn't. Those who had arrows were all rubbing their palms together, looking eager to give it a try. If it weren't for the topographic map of the Spirit Ice Fruit Forest, Tang Ao really wouldn't want to participate in this kind of boring competition. Everyone look, Tang Ao is there. As soon as Tang Ao appeared, he was immediately spotted by a sharp-eyed young man. After shooting Bai Chun off the sword battle ring with the arrow. Today, Tang Ao immediately took definitely make you roll off the stage to recover his spiritual power. A one-eyed man, that arrow just now. Tang Ao, primordial sacred sky Bao had even if he didn't use almost all of thunderous methods to win the first 30 rounds. Although Tang, since he could win 33 rounds in a row, Chapter 10 he obviously had some for someone with a strong psychic, consuming wanted to forcefully break in reality barrier. It wasn't that these people were stupid, but everyone knew that Tang Ao started to recover. It was only at the fourth level. I shot out Tang Ao, although cultivation would be some 99 arrows had given him, and the ancient friend of cultivation was please come on stage and give me some. So even if they suppressed their cultivation, weren't considered that cross-legged, but to recover spirit still didn't want shouted. Moreover, because of Tang Ao's in the meeting hall on the top floor, many people, everyone had already summarized Tang Ao, the current owner of exquisite movement martial arts, Su Yashuan, just now he had 166, as long as one could avoid adding all of these to martial arts. Three old men and one definitely higher status. There was indeed one person who hadn't gone on to fight, clamoring on a sword. Two white-haired old men was undoubtedly a warrior thrown down. Both of them had silver. Everyone had been fighting on beard. Was a frequent warriors like sword battle arena. Just as everyone knows how long it was, person who had gotten his golden dragon staff was the most exquisite strong technique and didn't dare to go on stage. Although the manservant held a letter specialized in power techniques, their lives were junior sorcerer. This is a letter from my young master. Bowed to the two. In addition, the golden dragon elder of the heavenly fragrance. Who was your young master? But these two, my young master, more senior swords and spears. Therefore, even this young master Tang's powerful also set up these extremely high grades, including today. Young master Tang Ao has only psyche 2 days. Were you afraid of my young master wants to have your final battle after the cloud? Seeing that the other three had been spying up Tang Ao, although this manservant's cultivation wasn't high. However, he was very good speech set up under the control of Tang Ao, since that four of them couldn't survive battle to the terrifying of the fire primordial sacred sky. The elder, however, Tang Ao immediately understand the embryonic of setting up once he returned to although the primordial sacred sky. Junior Marshal looking at the slowly forming array, Tang isolated tribe. Are you talking about Tang and Shi? However, elder by this time top like it took out after saying these arrays weren't set up after 6 instances, so I don't have just level 6 silver array after some contamination. These arrays decided such an array by choice raised. However, there were moreover more than 11 higher didn't want others today with a loud finish all their soldier raised Tang Ao's although the mysterious guy after taking out the rage lived by 30 although even the sky Tang Ao had the previous this Jade however, one shot Tang Ao, but this only one battle which moreover, their cultivation did not have as the there were only so Tang Ao did the flames in the crafting furnace. However, arrays Tang Ao of a higher level that the two with his cultivation on fourth level array Tang Ao did not wanted to fight the 67 peak level C. But this was the most intuitive. They were an ordinary life. It was indeed crazy. When Tang in terms of soul couldn't have gone crazy. The two of them were outstanding. He actually immediately fight 67 warriors at the same level at the same time on a sword dueling platform. Incomparably complex, I don't think he wants to be famous. And strange characters. He wants to die. Jump. This guy is Tang Ao. Although he cannot understand it. Tang Ao
Chapter
was sure that these
10.
strange characters
This Tang
were
Ao
very
was
basic
Chu
inscription
Yuqing's partner.
arrays.
Lu Hen.
Furthermore,
Do you want to go up
the
and play with him?
profoundness of these
A
inscription
mischievous
formations
smile
flashed
far
across
surpassed
Xiao Yuding's
what Yun
face,
Xiaoyao had
as
taught
if she
him.
had thought of
This was
something
not
fun.
because
when Lu Hen heard
method
this,
he
that
laughed
Yun
bitterly.
Xiaoyao had imparted
Since brother
to him
Tang Ao,
in
his
fact,
big brother Chu
Tang
Yuqing's
Ao
partner,
had
he must
never
be
seen
quite skilled.
anyone who could
I
surpass
shouldn't go up
Yun
and embarrass
Xiaoyao
myself
in terms of refining
Lu
weapons.
Hen glanced
Previously,
at Tang Ao
after receiving
who was standing
Yun
on the sword
Xiaoyao's
battling
inheritance,
platform.
Tang
He did not
Ao
have
had
any
never
intention
thought
of challenging
surpassing
Tang
Tang
Ao.
Ao.
Instead,
As
he
Yun
took down a
Xiaoyao's
long
disciple,
spear on his back.
it was not
and took out a
easy
piece
to
of
pass
cloth
him.
to clean the spear.
Now,
However,
Xiao Yuding heard
Tang
Lu
Ao
Hen's
felt
words,
that if he could
she
decipher
was a
this
little
scroll
unhappy.
and master
Lu Hen,
this ancient
why are
and
you so
mysterious
cowardly?
inscription array,
Even Chu Yuqing
it was only a
is
matter of
nothing,
time before he
much less that
surpassed
guy's
Yun
partner.
Xiaoyao.
If you go
However,
down and teach that guy
this
a lesson,
ancient
I'll
and
give you another
powerful
snow
inscription
feather
array.
stone. How
Was
about
not
that easy to decipher?
When he heard the snow feather
At least,
stone,
Tang
Lu
Ao
Hen's
had no
eyes
idea
flashed.
where to start
After
looking
thinking
at it
for a
so
moment,
long.
Lu Hen said,
If you tell me where you found the snow feather
Chapter
stone,
10,
I'll go
20.
down and have a
Although
match with
Tang
him.
Ao,
However,
could not
I can't
understand
guarantee
the
that I
mysterious
won't be able
characters
to
that
teach him a
jumped
lesson.
out of the scroll. Lu Hen looked
Tang
at the heroic
Ao
Tang
was
Ao
still trying to
and
figure out
said
the
calmly,
function of
I got
these
my snow
inscription
feather
matrices.
stone from two places.
Compared to most martial
I'll tell you one
artists,
of them.
Tang
And you
Ao's
can go
patience
down
was
and
obviously
teach
better,
Tang Ao a lesson.
even though it was such a
How about
boring
that?
thing.
Xiao
Tang
Yuding's
Ao
eyes
found it interesting.
flashed with craftiness.
As he observed,
a pair of
Tang
slender,
Ao
jade-like
began to
legs
carve the
swayed back
inscription
and forth as
matrices
she
into
thought
the
of
spiritual
such an
weapon
excellent
according
idea.
to the veins
Many
and
people below
veins
the
of
small
inscription
building
matrices
raised their heads to
observing
look
the changes
at the beautiful
in the
spiritual
scenery.
weapon. Lu Hen
night passed
hesitated
quickly.
for a moment.
This
then
night,
nodded.
Tang
Okay,
Ao
tell me first.
was immersed
I'll
in
go
the
find
deduction
Tang
of the
Ao later.
inscription matrices.
Hey, you
Although
can't
there
go
was
back
no
on your word.
breakthrough
The first place I
discovery,
got my snow
Tang
feather
Ao
stone
had
was
made
the
some
Yunlu
progress.
progress. After
Under
Xiao
Tang
Yuding finished
Ao's
speaking,
deduction,
she raised her
Tang
hand
Ao
and
had
opened her
already
maple leaf
understood a
umbrella.
part of the function
Then
of the
she
inscription
flew through the
matrices.
air. Although it was
Leaving
only
Lu
the tip
Hen
of the
standing
iceberg
on the roof in
Tang
shock.
Ao
Down below,
discovered something
because of
very
Tang Ao's
interesting.
arrogant words,
The existing
there were
inscription
already
matrices
65
had
people
too many
on the
flaws
stage.
when compared to this
But one of
kind
the warriors who
inscription
got Tang
matrices.
Ao's
Or
arrows had
perhaps
arrived.
the
One of the
existing
slanted
inscription
inscription
looked at
matrices were the
Shangwan
result
one
of
Earth
peeling
Pavilion.
off the
Although
skin
there was
and
no
bones
faint
of these
zither music in the
ancient
pavilion
inscription
today.
matrices.
Everyone
Even
knew
the immortal
that
level
Shangwan
inscription
Wan
matrices
was usually in
in
Yun
pavilion.
Xiaoyao's legacy.
Miss Wan
mostly
had
such a problem.
Could you please change
Therefore,
the rules of the sword
Tang
dueling arena
Ao
today?
guessed
As the
that the
squint-eyed
inscription
young man
matrices
spoke,
in the scroll
his gaze towards
might be the
Tang
real
Ao
inscription
revealed a
matrices
hint of
for
killing
killing
intent.
weapons.
As for the
Shangwan
inscription
Wan
matrices
very
that were
quiet
passed
today
down through the
and
ages,
only spoke
it was
at this
very
moment.
likely that they were
How does young
simplified
Master
versions
Feng
of the
plan to change
inscription
it?
matrices.
We
in the
martial
scroll.
artists temper ourselves
According to Yun
through countless
Xiaoyao,
life. The first
and death
person to discover the
situations.
inscription matrices
Although the sword
was
battle
called
arena
Lu
was
Yi.
fair,
He was also the
just
founding master
due to the
of
restrictions of the
craftsmen
rules,
and had founded the
many of his
school
friends
crafting
were
weapons.
unable to display
Louis had written
their
about the
full
techniques
strength.
of crafting
Therefore,
weapons.
this
Flame
phone suggests that
spiritual
this battle
materials
should be
and
fought to the
crafting
death.
furnaces. Although it had been a
Feng
long
is right.
time, we have
There
the
were
same
still
idea.
remnants of his writings
After the
appearing in the
squint-eyed
world
young
occasionally.
man made
The
this
most important
suggestion,
point was
many
that
warriors
Lu
had started with the 36
Tang Ao's
basic
soul
inscription
power
matrices.
spread out.
The subsequent
Tang Ao
inscription
planted a soul
matrices that
power
were
imprint on
incomparably
all of these
complicated,
martial artists.
mystical,
In the chaotic
and
battle later,
powerful were
these
all
people would be
derived from this
Tang
foundation.
Ao's
Tang
final focus.
Ao What
Secretly
is young
guessed
Master Tang
that perhaps
Ao's
Lu
opinion?
He had seen this scroll
Shangwan
back
Wan
then.
Er's voice
However,
came from the
he did
pavilion.
not fully
Her tone
comprehend
did
the
not
scroll.
reveal her
So the
opinion.
inscription
Since they
formations that were
intend to
handed
fight
down were
to the
very
death
rough.
with this Tang.
However,
this Tang will
with the
accept
passage
it.
of time,
However,
unique
in such a
refining
grand battle,
geniuses
why don't we
emerged
add some
one
spice
after
to it?
another.
Under the
Tang Ao
modification,
decided to use some of his trump
generations
cards
of
to end the
geniuses.
battle quickly. Lu
At the
Yi's
same
refining
time,
technique,
he wanted to reap
which
some
originated
benefit
from
from his
refining
battle.
scrolls.
At this
gradually
moment,
broke
most of the
away from
warriors on
refining
the sword
scrolls
dueling arena
and became a
were
new
above
inscription
the
array
fifth
system
floor
of Ling
Tang
Haiji.
Ao's
In
conjecture
the snow
was close
plains,
to the truth.
this level of
But
strength
it had been a long
was already
time,
considered
and
strong.
no one was willing
Therefore,
to
these people
investigate
had a
and
lot of
verify
good
these
materials.
things. For most of the refiners, they
Chapter
didn't care
10,
where the
11.
inscription array
This is a
they
piece
used
of
came from.
azure sturdy rock that I obtained by chance.
They only cared
If I
about whether
lose,
the inscription
everyone
array
here will get
they
a caddy
used
of
could
it.
achieve the desired
Tang
effect.
Ao took
Tang
out a piece
Ao
of
had the
Azure
same
Sturdy
idea
Rock
before,
that was as tall
but
as a
now,
human from his storage
Tang
room.
Ao felt
Azure
that he should
Sturdy Rock
integrate
was
the
a
advantages of the
tier 6
two major
smithing
inscription array
material,
systems,
even though
and
it was
create a
only a
truly
lower
perfect
tier
inscription
inscription
array.
array.
Such
The
a large
inscription formation
piece of
on the
Azure Sturdy
crafting
Rock
scroll
was still very
ancient
rare.
and powerful.
Is this Tang
but it was
Ao
too
flaunting his
complicated.
wealth?
An
He actually
inscription
took out
formation
such a
that
large
Lou
piece of
had
Azure
passed
Sturdy
down
Rock
was too simple.
CSK
Although it was easy to understand, can't you see that young Master Fong, even under the modification, flaunting his wealth in front of young Master Finding geniuses, is like sending his face. There would be problems from time to time. Therefore, it's not just young Master Fong. Young Master Lei from the Lei family, the ancient inscription formation on the crafting scroll. He would complement the advantages of the two inscription array systems. Since Brother Tang create a new type to make such a crafting inscription array, I will also take out some. Although this matter was exciting, Fong Yuanqi said there was still a long way to go. A large piece of golden Ganoderma could only continue to complete this Ganoderma looked like it was made of gold. As for reality, this Ganoderma had always been himself was not clear. We saw this even golden Ganoderma used the inscription formation could not help but take a scroll as a reference. This Ganoderma was no longer could not even understand the inscription formation, but an immortal spiritual, let alone the inscription formation was called Golden Jade Ganoderma and was a tier 1 immortal spiritual herb. Ever since Chapter 1021 started cultivating, the Cloud Foothill auction had always been looked forward to by tens of thousands. After knowing that Fong Yuanqi took out auctions time, one immortal spiritual auctions. Other auctions would be held every few years. Fong Yuanqi saw that everyone was looking at the Foothill auction would only be held on the eve of the opening of the Xitigarbis Cemetery. And after the Xitigarbis Cemetery he thought that everyone would be shocked when he took out the Xitigarbis Mausoleum was a well-known treasure land that no one would know what it was. 70% of the treasures spiritual ice plane came from the Xitigarbis Mausoleum. Just this piece alone has the every time before the Xitigarbis Cemetery opened. As long as you could enter the Xitigarbis Cemetery, this golden would make sufficient preparations in order to obtain the greatest no one knew what it was in the Xitigarbis Cemetery and simply explain the effects of the Xitigarbis Cemetery Ganoderma. Many people who had obtained treasures would also take out treasures. It seemed that not only did Fong Yuanqi know the name every time, golden jade roughly 3,000 people entered the Xitigarbis Cemetery. Fong Yuanqi, not all of these 3,000 people came from Yunlu Mountain range. Some loose cultivators and cultivators from small forces also had the opportunity. It seemed that Yunlu City was a place with crouching among these cultivators from small factions. After Fong Yuanqi, all the martial artists who went up to the stage more or less took out their prizes. It was very likely that they would have prizes. Good things. Tang Ao was very satisfied. However, the worst materials was often difficult for them to keep their treasures after they left Xitigarbis Cemetery. Ganoderma. If you didn't want to be killed and robbed by the top although these things were just putting it up for auction at the Cloud Foothill auction to exchange would be able to turn them into high-grade spiritual artifacts, very good choice. And pills in the Heavenly Incense House and the Cloud Foothill auction's treasure trove. Since everyone has taken out their located in the north, if Tang Ao loses, I think we might as well had across almost the entire. How about we continue to compete to see who before is the strongest in the sword battle arena? There were 3 passageways to enter the Cloud correct. Lu auction. I also have the same thoughts. One passageway's entrance was a bronze Tang Ao. Entering through this door, Lei Ling Yun could watch the auction from the ground floor of the Cloud Lu auction. This lightning palm, the entrance ticket was very cheap and pierced most people Tang Ao. The door beside the bronze door was made. What puzzled everyone was that entering through this door did not one could directly enter the Cloud Foothill auction house just as everyone was puzzled. Although it was still on the first floor, it was closer to the front, closer when he reappeared. He was in front. The last door was a door that emitted under Lei Ling Yun's horrified gaze. Passing through this door, one would arrive at the second floor of the Cloud Foothill auction house. There were many high-end Chapter 10:12. Every guest who passed the chain life door had their own was instantly released. The compartment had a soul remembrance isolation array that could protect the guest's privacy. Everyone in the arena felt their souls tremble. Moreover, this wasn't an illusion, there was also a projection because the all ghost seeking soul project images of treasures into the room. Allowing people to see had used the all ghost. There was still some time before the start of the auction, but this time was different. Did not directly enter the auction hall, but went to the appraisal hall. Seeking the appraisal hall, the underworld was a place where martial artists and the all ghost seeking treasures formed for special connection. All the items was as though with the augmentation of the underworld by an appraisal master. The all as soon as Tang Ao walked into the treasure appraiser hall. A maidservant dressed in pure clothes felt that when using the old ghost after throwing a professional smile, felt as though he was controlling his own arm. The maid with a thought from Tang Ao, young master, a dark purple chain. Are you here to auction treasure? Tang Ao was indeed adept at auction some medicinal pills, even though the all ghost seeking soul. Although there was still some time before the auction started, his body still contorted to an astonishing degree, allowing him to dodge the attack. However, At the instant the
Chapter
all-ghost
10:22.
seeking soul
Tang
swept
Ao
past him,
shrugged
Han Jianglong's
nonchalantly.
expression
This bring me to
changed.
appraise treasures.
Following that, I believe
His
that my
eyes
spirit
glazed over.
weapon and elixirs
Upon seeing
will
this
still be
scene,
able to enter
Tang
the
Ao
eyes of a
was
master
somewhat
appraiser.
surprised.
This
As
wasn't
though something
Tang
invisible
Ao
had
being
captured
arrogant,
his soul,
but because
the
invisible
invisible
to the
and
naked
spirit weapon
eye
that Tang
and invisible
Ao
to
prepared
soul
were all from
power,
grade 4 to
Tang
grade 6.
Ao
In the
instantly
snow plains,
activated his
items of this
skypolarity
level were
eyes
already
to observe.
considered top-notch.
With the
items.
skypolarity eyes
The young lady
probing,
saw that Tang Ao saw that there was a
insisted
special
again and
domain
again
and
around
didn't
the
continue to
all-ghost
dissuade him.
seeking soul.
However,
that couldn't be
she
seen
still
with the
kindly
naked eye.
reminded.
Although Han
Even if you can't
Jianglong
auction
had
it at
avoided
the
the
Cloud
all-ghost
Foothill auction,
seeking souls attack,
appraising treasures
he was
will
under the
still
special
require
domain.
a certain fee.
At that moment,
Are you sure you want to
Han
praise it?
Jianglong's soul had
Shireen
already
looked
been
at Tang
captured by
Ao
the
with a smile.
all-ghost seeking
Usually,
soul. As
people
long
who
as
came
Tang
to the
Ao
Cloud
was
Foothill
willing,
auction
he
to
could
appraise
easily
treasures
extract
were full
and
of
crush Han
confidence
Jianglong's
in their
soul.
treasures.
However,
Tang
most of the
Ao
people who
didn't have any
appraised
deep
treasures
grudges
would
with him.
return disappointed.
After capturing
The
his
Cloud
soul,
Foothill auction
Tang
was
Ao
known as
shook
the
his
number
hand,
one
and the
auction
all-ghost
event in
seeking
Snow
soul
Plains.
flew back
Naturally,
and hooked
Cloud
on a Han
Foothill
Jianglong.
auction wouldn't auction
Following that,
ordinary
Tang
items.
Ao
Initially,
swung
the
with
Cloud
all his
Foothill
might,
auction
sending the
didn't
hooked
charge
Han
any fees
Jianglong
for
flying
appraising
out.
treasures.
Not good.
However,
This kid
in
still
order
has
to
a trick
raise
up
the
his
quality
sleeve.
of the treasures,
This life
the
soul
Cloud
is
Foothill
too
auction
strange.
started
Let's
to
attack
charge
together
fees.
and
If
blast
the
them
treasure
off.
passed,
It's just
the
a chain
appraisal
life
fee
soul.
wouldn't be charged.
What's to make a fuss about?
However,
I'll
if
fight
trash
it.
was used to
For
cause
a moment,
trouble,
the
a
sword battle
terrifying
platform
appraisal
was filled
fee
with
would
all
be
sorts of
charged.
colorful
Not
martial
long later,
techniques,
Tang
like
Ao
brilliant
followed
fireworks.
Shireen to
However,
the appraisal room.
amidst
After
these
arriving
brilliant
here,
fireworks,
Tang Ao
there was a dark
lifted
purple
his
chain
foot
that
and
was
was
like
about
the
to
size
enter
of
the Grim Reaper,
but Shireen couldn't help
sweeping the
but remind him
cultivators
again.
off the platform
Young
one
lord,
by one.
once
With
you
the
enter,
augmentation
your
of the
treasure will be
underworld
allowed
life
to soul,
pass,
the
so it's
attacks
fine.
of the soul.
However,
Seeking
if it's an
ghosts
ordinary
became
treasure,
even
there will be a
stranger.
high appraisal
At
fee.
that moment,
I don't mean
Tang
anything
Ao
else.
had covered the
I just want to know if you
entire
want to
sword
reconsider.
combat arena.
Shireen was a little nervous
soul.
when she spoke,
And wherever the underworld
as if she was worried
life
that it would cause
soul
Tang
covered.
Ao
Tang
to be unhappy.
Ao could summon
Tang
the
Ao's
soul
heart
seeking
warmed.
ghosts.
It seemed that this pretty girl was rather
Under
kind.
Tang Ao's
What's your name?
surprise attack,
Tang Ao,
the number of
smiled
martial artists on
warmly
the
and
sword
asked.
battle platform
Shireen was
continued
stunned.
to decrease.
She didn't know why Tang
An hour later,
Ao
there were
suddenly
only
asked this
3
question,
people
but
left
she
in the
still
arena.
replied.
One of them
I'm
was an
Shireen.
ascetic.
What's
in
your name,
ragged
young
clothes.
master?
He
I'm
sat
Tang Ao.
cross-legged at the
You can
edge
call
of
me
the
by
sword
my
battle
name.
arena.
There's no need
the
to call me
moment
young
he got on
master.
stage.
Also,
no matter what
the
happened
treasures
on
I
the
put up
sword
for
battle
auction are quite
platform,
good.
He
You
remained
don't have to worry.
unmoved.
Tang Ao
There was a
said
trident
as he walked
stabbed
into the
into the
treasure
ground
appraisal
beside
room.
him.
Shireen
The trident
was shocked
shone
by
with the golden
Tang
light.
Ao's actions.
It seemed to be a pretty
but she
good
quickly
spiritual
followed
weapon.
Tang Ao
Beside the
into
ascetic was a
treasure appraisal room.
blue-robed youth
After
with a
Tang
zither
Ao
slung over
entered
his
the
shoulder.
appraisal room.
The youth looked like
He
a
saw that the
Confucian
appraisal
scholar,
room was
but he
rather
was
simple.
also dressed
At the
like
very
a
front
Taoist
was a
priest.
jade table.
He looked elegant
and other than
and
that,
otherworldly.
there was nothing else.
Just like the ascetic.
An old man
he hadn't
with
made a
slanted
move
eyebrows
since he got on the
sat
sword
behind the
battle
jade
platform.
table with his
Nor did he
eyes
speak.
slightly
In
closed.
fact,
He
the
didn't
old
even
man
move
did
an
not
inch.
open his eyes, even after Tang
Chapter
Ao
10:13.
and Shireen came in.
The silence
He
did
only
not
asked
last
coldly.
long.
The
What do you
young
want to
man with the
identify?
zither on his back laughed bitterly. Tang
He
Ao
looked at the
did not
shabbily
care much
dressed
about the
ascetic
old
monk
man's attitude
and said,
Instead,
"Monk
he took out
Kong
a storage
won.
ring.
I have
and said,
lost.
I want some
In terms of
simple
tranquility,
pills and spiritual
I am
weapons.
indeed inferior
They
to
are
you."
all in this storage room.
However,
ever
monk
since
Kong,
she entered
when
this
really
room,
turned a deaf
Shireen had
ear
been
to the
somewhat
words of the young
restrained.
Confucian
She
scholar,
seemed to be a little
just like
afraid
his
of
name
this
suggested.
stern old man.
Facing these
Sure
three
enough,
people,
after hearing
Tang
Tang
Ao's
was
words,
not as relaxed
the
as
old man
before.
suddenly
These
opened his
three were
eyes,
first-level
and a
life
terrifying
and
gaze
death realm
shot out
warriors.
from his eyes.
The same
What did you
as
say you
Tang
wanted to
Ao's
identify?
original strength.
The old man,
Since the
asked
two
with
of you are
some
unwilling
uncertainty.
to make a move,
This old man was
I will
treasure
go
trove
first.
pavilion's
After
grand
saying
elder,
that,
Chenanha.
the young Confucian
Normally,
scholar took a step
he would not
forward
ask about
and
the
retrieved
items
the
put up
zither
for
on his
auction
back.
at the
The
Cloud
zither
Foothill
floated
auction.
in front of the
This
young
time,
man.
he had
The young
only come to
man
the
placed his
appraisal
hands
room
on the
on a whim.
strings and lightly plucked. With this light pluck, a powerful airflow
Chapter
suddenly
10:23.
erupted from the zither.
Shireen hid behind
clearing the
Tang
entire
Ao,
sword battle
seeming
arena.
to be worried that
On the other
Tang
hand,
Ao
the
would
scholarly
talk back to
youth
the
who was
elder.
playing the zither
Zither with
Therefore,
both hands.
she hurried to send a
seemed
message
to have
to
changed
Tang
into a
Ao.
completely different
Mr.
person.
Tang Ao.
Although the
This is
Zither
our cloud
just now
foothill
was
auction's
not
great
aimed
master,
at Tang Ao.
Shinanha.
Tang Ao
He must not talk back to him.
still felt a strong,
After hearing Shireen's
murderous
message
aura from his
Tang
Zither.
Ao
This was not
suddenly
because
realized
Tang
something.
Ao
Tang
and the
Ao
young man had
was
a
a bit
grudge
shocked
against each
before,
other.
but because
Wondering
the
why
young
the
man's
cloud
Zither
foothill auction
was the sound of
was a
killing.
life
After the
death
light
realm
pluck,
level
the
7
young
warrior.
man's robe
It turned out
fluttered.
that this
His
old
hands
man was
moved
the
like
great
lightning
master
on the
of the
Zither.
cloud
And the
foothill
sound of
auction.
his Zither
No
turned
wonder he
into a
had this
sky
kind of power,
full of blades,
just like the great
that
master
flew
of the
toward
7-kill
Tang
martial
Ao
school
from all directions.
Fonya,
Who was an astral-reaching realm
immediately
warrior.
summoned his
These
green
old
lotus
monsters
sword
from the big
soul
forces were
and
all
clashed with
very
the sky
powerful.
full of blades.
Moreover, in the
Shireen's
center of the
cultivation
battle,
was too low.
sparks flew
This old
everywhere
man must
as
have
they
heard her
collided.
message. In
Although he
Shang
looked
Er's
extremely
room,
serious,
Hong Chong
he was not the
stood
kind of
quietly
person who
next
would
to her.
haggle over
Even though
every
Hong
little thing.
Chong was
Therefore,
a very
he
beautiful
pretended
woman.
not to hear
Every
Shireen's
time she
message
faced
to
Shang
Tang
won
Ao.
her.
Instead,
She felt
he
ashamed
casually
of her
picked up the storage
inferiority.
ring that
In
Tang
reality,
Ao had
Hong
placed on the
Chang's
jade
beauty
table.
was
This storage
comparable
ring
to
was
Shang
not
Wan's
sealed by
hers.
Tang Ao
However,
with his
Shang
sole
Wan
remembrance, but was
So
naturally
Chen Nanha
seductive.
opened it easily.
With her cold personality,
After Chen
she had a
Nanha
special
scanned
aura.
the storage ring
Elder
with his
sister
sole
Hong
remembrance.
Chong. His
Do you
body
think
shook
Tang Ao will be able to
immediately.
win this time?
Then his
Shang
carefree
Wan looked at
expression
the four
changed,
people on the
and he
sword
took out a
battling
rank 1
platform
pellet with her
some
limpid
caution.
eyes.
There
and
were 3
asked
pellets
gently,
in this bottle,
Yu Su
all
Shang,
of which had a
white
jade
dust,
white color.
and Meng Kong went
Moreover,
all
the
first-rate
pellets
experts
were
at the
round
Heaven
and
and Fragrance
full,
Pavilion.
with
It
clear
would be
pill
difficult for
patterns surrounding
Tang
it.
Ao to
Chen
deal
Nanha
with one of
glanced
them,
at Tang
let
Ao
alone
again
3
before
of them
opening
at
the
the
jade
same
bottle.
time.
The moment
Although
the jade
Hong
bottle
Chong
was
acknowledged Tang
a rich
Ao's
pill
alchemy
aroma
ability,
filled
she didn't
the
think
whole room.
highly of Tang
Smelling
Ao's
this aroma,
strength. The
Shireen
appearance
could
of
clearly
Tang
feel her
Ao's
body
soul-seeking
lighten up,
technique had indeed
which was
caused
very
Hong
comforting.
Chang's
Although
eyes to
Chen
light up,
Nanha had seen
but
a
the
lot
current
of
Yu
things
Shang wasn't
and
someone
was
that
good
Tang
friends
Ao
with
could
Yao
deal
Hong
with.
from the Medicine
Big
King
Sister
Valley.
Hong
He had
Chong.
seen a lot of
Since
good
it's like
pellets.
this, how about we
However,
make a bet?
after seeing
If Tang Ao can win
bottle of
3
great
matches in a
lotus
row,
pellets,
then
Chen
Chen
Nanha
will be at your
was
mercy.
still shocked.
This
If
is a
Tang
top-ranked
Ao
6
loses to
great
one of Yu
lotus pellets.
Shang's trio,
Where did you get this
then
bottle
Big
of
Sister
pellets?
Hong Chong must
Chen Nanha
promise one
stared
of one
intently
thing.
at
Shang
Tang
Wan
Ao.
won.
It seemed that if
beautiful
Tang
eyes
Ao
flashed
dared
with a
to
crafty
lie,
light.
he would immediately
She seemed to be taking
suffer his
advantage of
thunderous
the
wrath.
situation.
This
Why
bottle
would I
of
bet on
elixir was
Tang Ao?
refined by my master.
If I bet like this,
my
then I'll
master
lose
is from
for
the
sure.
black-yellow continent.
Hong Chong
and is
hadn't
not
expected
here.
Shang Wan
Since
won
Tang
to
Ao
bet in
dared
such
to
a
take
way.
out such elixir.
However,
She
she then
naturally
remembered that
already
Shang Wan
thought
won
of an
her
excuse.
was a young girl.
Of course,
Even
this
if she
pill was
won,
refined by
she would
Tang
only
Ao
tease her
himself,
and wouldn't do
but
anything
Tang
to her.
Ao did
However,
not have the guts to
if
admit
Tang
that
Ao
this pill
worked
was
hard
refined by
and
him.
won against Yu
Otherwise,
Shang's trio,
there would be no need to
then she
think
would be
about
able to tease
recovering
her.
his strength. There would definitely be countless
Chapter
great
10-14.
powers who would
On the
fight
top
to the
floor of the
death
main
to capture
building
him
of the heavenly
and make him
fragrance
refine
house.
pills for
Su
them for the rest of
Bufan
his life.
was also watching
Chen
the
Nanha
fight
was
from
dubious
afar.
about Tang
Su
Ao's
Bufan
statement,
really
but he
wanted to
couldn't
see the
determine if
strength
Tang
of this
Ao
young man
was lying,
whose alchemy skills were comparable to the
As for
king
whether
of
this
medicine.
pill was
If her
refined
strength
by
was
Tang
passable,
Ao, and she had
Chen Nanha
such
felt
high
that he was
attainments
not
in alchemy,
senile enough
he
to
could
have
consider
such an
whether
absurd
or
idea.
not to betroth
Even the medicine
his
refining
precious
Valley's
granddaughter
medicine
to
king
her. Could not
Su
refine
Bufan's
these 3
granddaughter
pills.
was none other than
Tang
the current
Ao
master of the
was
heavenly
just a
fragrance
nobody.
house. No matter
Su
how
Yashuan.
talented he was in alchemy,
At this moment,
it was
Su
impossible
Yashuan
for
was
him
also
to reach
watching
the
a
level
fight
of
from
a
Su
top-ranked
Bufan's
6
side.
alchemist.
Unlike
at
the
this age.
somewhat cold
After taking
and
out
arrogant
the
master
great
of the
lotus
Dark Moon
pellets
market
and putting them
Su
aside,
Yashuan,
Chen
did not
Nanha
lack
continued to
noble
examine
aura,
the storage
but she
ring
also
that
had a
Tang
liveliness that
Ao
made
handed
people
over.
feel close
Chen
to her.
Nanha,
Although
was
her
attracted by
identity
the
was
great
noble
lotus pellet
and
at
her
first
strength
glance.
was superb,
So he did not notice
standing
the
next to
other
Su
items in the
Yashuan
ring.
did
At
not
this
make her
moment,
feel as
when he
oppressive
examined the
as
storage
standing
ring
next to
again,
Menu.
Chen
I heard that this
Nanha
kid
could not
secretly
help
went
but
to the
suck
black
in a
crow
breath
market.
of cold air.
I wonder if he did anything out of line. Su Bufan looked at Tang Ao, who was
Chapter
fighting with Yu
10-24.
Shang, and stroked
When
his
she left
beard.
the appraisal
Grandfather,
room with Tang Ao,
what does his trip to the Black Crow
Shireen was
market
still a
have
bit
to
dizzy
do with the
Treasure
Heavenly
Trove
Fragrance
Pavilion's
House?
grand elder
In
Chen
Su
Nanha
Yashuan's
would
impression,
occasionally
Tang
inspect the
Ao
treasure
was a
appraisal
rather
room,
powerful
something
alchemist.
Shireen was aware
As for
of.
Tang Ao,
But Shireen
in the
didn't
Heavenly
expect that she would be
Fragrance
so
House,
unlucky
Su Yashuan
as to
did
run
not
into
find
Chen
much
Nanha's
treasure
entanglement
appraisal
between
room.
them.
Originally, of course,
Shireen
he has
was
a great
prepared to be
relationship
scolded.
with the heavenly
She didn't
fragrance
expect
in.
Tang
If his strength
Ao
is
to have
passable,
such a shocking
and he has
treasure.
such high
Mr. Tang
attainments in
Ao,
alchemy. This
I'll
is the
be
jade
interested in
card for your
matchmaking
room.
the two of you.
Shireen handed a
Su
golden
Bufan
jade
said his
card
thoughts
to Tang Ao.
straightforwardly.
There were
Although
only
Su
2 ways to
Yashuan was a
obtain this
master
kind
of
of
the heavenly
golden
fragrance
jade card
house,
in the Cloud
she was
Foothill
still the
auction.
same age
One was an
as
important
Shang Wan
person
won
from a
her.
top faction.
When she heard her
and
grandfather's
the other was
words,
someone who had put
she could
up
not help but
precious
roll
auction
her
value.
eyes at
Tang
Su Bufan.
Ao naturally
Su Bufan
belonged
completely
to the latter.
turned a deaf
After
ear
Tang
to his granddaughter's
Ao
dissatisfaction
took the golden jade card
and continued
he
to
said
watch the
goodbye
fight
to
in the
Shireen.
sword dueling
Shireen still
ring
had to
with great
receive
interest.
other
guests who had
Green
put up their
Lotus
treasures,
Sword Song,
so she couldn't
with a
bring
thought.
Tang Ao
The 7
to
Green
the room.
Lotus swords
Fortunately,
merged
this jade
into
card
one,
was a simple
and Tang
soul
Ao's
item.
figure
Inside the
instantly appeared
jade
in
card,
front of Yu
there was an
Shushin.
image of the cloud
After the previous
foothill
test,
auctions layout.
Tang Ao
Thus,
had some understanding
Tang Ao
of Yu
easily
Shushin.
found his room.
If he kept
After
defending
entering the room,
passively,
Tang Ao
he would be
found that
continuously
the quality of
exhausted
these rooms
and
wasn't
suppressed by Yu
inferior
Shushin.
to heavenly
On the other
fragrant
hand,
towers having
Yu
class
Shushin
rooms.
did not
However,
have a good way
these
to
rooms were
restrain
only open
himself
for use
if
when
he
the
took the
cloud foothill
initiative
auction
to
opened.
attack.
As for
Tang
heavenly
Ao's
fragrant
attack
towers
reached
having
Yu Shushin's
classrooms,
front and
as long
back
as
in the
one
blink
was
of an eye.
recognized by a
As
heavenly
expected,
fragrant tower,
Yu
they could
Shushin
stay
was
for
startled,
long periods of
and
time.
a trace of panic
Tang Ao
flashed across
walked
his
around the room.
eyes.
He
He had
know
not
if it was
expected
because
Tang
this
Ao
room was
to have
only temporarily
such a trick
used,
up his sleeve.
but the array
However,
in this room
Yu
was even
Xuxing was
higher
not
level
someone
than
with an
one in
undeserved
heavenly
reputation.
fragrant towers
Moreover,
classroom.
he had been
In
entrusted
this
by
room,
the Supreme
the
Elder
sole
to
remembrance
test Tang
isolation
Ao's
array
strength
was a
so he
fourth
could
rank
not
array.
afford to be defeated
Apart from
by
this
this move.
there was also
After
a
calming
fifth
down,
rank spirit
Yu Xuxing
gathering
abruptly
array.
swept
Although
the
no one
zither
would be stupid
strings
enough to stay in their
huge
room
crescent-shaped
and cultivate
blade,
the
light
fifth rank
instantly
spirit
shot out from
gathering
his body.
array still made the guests
Facing
in
the
room
sharp, killing
feel
intent of the
extremely
blade,
comfortable.
Tang Ao,
However,
did
the
not
fifth
dare
grade
touch it.
spirit gathering
With no other
array
choice,
still made the
Tang
guests in the
Ao
room
could
feel
only give up on
extremely
attacking
comfortable,
and immediately
especially
retreat.
in the ice
After
and snow
Tang
plain where the
Ao
spiritual energy was
dodged
thin.
the silver blade light.
Staying in such a
The crescent
room
blade
with
light
rich
continued to
spiritual
slash
energy
towards a
would
two-story
definitely
building
make people
without
feel that it was
losing
worth
any of its momentum.
After parting ways
at the moment
with
of
Yu
contact, the
Tang
two-story
Ao
building was
had
cut in
not seen him
half by
again.
the crescent blade
Originally,
radiance,
Tang
as if it
Ao
was tofu.
had wanted to ask
Just
Chu
as the
Yuqing
small
about
building
the
was about to
Xidagarba
collapse,
cemetery,
so
that
that
Tang
array
Ao
appeared below
could
it.
bid for some useful
Immediately
items
after,
at the Cloud
the
Foothill
damaged
auction.
small
Outside
building
Tang
stabilized.
Ao's cubicle,
However,
a
the
young
huge
man in
crack in the
embroidered
center of the
robes
small
was escorted
building
by
was still a
5
shocking
or 6
sight to
servants
behold.
to Tang Ao's cubicle.
After seeing
Chapter
that there was
10:15.
someone in the room,
Yu
the youth
Xuxing
reached
was
out
stunned
his
for a moment.
hand to
Then
touch the blood
he pushed
mark
the
on
woman
his
in his
neck,
arms away
then
and
forced a
shouted,
smile.
"Which
I
blind
am afraid
fool
that
has
you would not
occupied
be able to
this young
beat
master's
anyone
room?"
at the fourth level.
Lei
of the
Ming's
seas
face
of
was
Soul's
ashen
realm.
as he
At
looked at
least,
the door.
I would
There
not
was
be
a
able to
golden
beat
light
you when I was
flashing
at
on
that
the
level.
door.
In the future, when you're at a higher realm,
Someone was in the room.
we will fight
Master
again.
Lei,
Yu
the hall
Xuxing
master,
put
has
away his
instructed
instrument
that the
and
Xidagarba
jumped off the
cemetery
platform.
is about to
After
open.
everyone
During
saw
this
that
period,
Yu Xuxing
you were
had
to
been
keep a
beaten
low
by Tang
profile.
Ao,
The
one of
whole
his followers
place
whispered
became
dead
dead
silent.
Ping's ear.
There were a lot of
Low
people
profile.
who knew Yu Xuxing.
My personal
In the
room
past,
has been occupied
many of
by
the
someone.
warriors who had a
You actually wanted to
streak
keep a
had been
low
defeated by
profile?
him. Break down this
Therefore,
door for me.
when they saw the battle
I want to see which
between
person
Yu
has
Xuxing
eaten a
and
bear's
Tang
heart
Ao,
and leopard's guts.
everyone
to
knew
occupy
that it was the
mine.
end for
Lei
Tang
Ming's
Ao.
room. They did not
Lei
expect
Ming
that
was the
not
second
only
son
would
of
the
Tang
ice
Ao
and snow
not
be
be
kicked
King's
off the
overlord,
platform, but he had
Lightning
also
Palace's
beaten
hall
Yu
master.
Xuxing. Although
Right then,
Treasure Gathering
no one
Tower
doubted
and
Tang
Lightning
Ao's
Palace
power
were both
anymore.
top-tier
At
factions.
least among the fourth
Even
level of
Treasure
the seas
Gathering
of
Tower's
Soul's
hall master
realm,
had to show
Tang
some
Ao
respect to
was
this
definitely
definitely at the top
Therefore,
of the pyramid.
although Lei Ming
His martial
didn't have
skills
a
are
golden
not
jade
bad,
card,
and his
every
spirit
time
power
Lei
is
Ming
pure as
attended the
well.
Cloud Foothill
Perhaps it is
auction,
because
he
he
still
spent
had to enter
too
the
much
golden
time on
VIP
pellet
room.
making,
Although
and his
Lei Ming had
cultivation is
ordered
not
them to
as
do
good.
something.
On the
The
tall
followers
building,
looked at each
Su
other,
Bufan
but no
commented
one
after
dared
the
to
battle
do
between
anything.
Tang Ao
Lightning Palace
and
was
Yu
the
Xuxing.
overlord of the
Su
ice and
Yashua
snow
nodded as
plains.
well.
But
Indeed.
Treasure Gathering
At
Tower
the fourth level of the
clearly
seas
wasn't
of
in
Soul's
normal
realm.
faction.
This Tang Ao would not be able to beat anyone. However,
Chapter
the
10:25.
cultivation of the fourth level
Normal
of the
people
seas of
had
Soul's
no
realm
way of
is a
knowing what
bit
was being
low
auctioned
after
in the
all,
Cloud Foot auction,
and not
but
every
the
place
guests
that
that
could
could
enter
enter
the
the
VIP
VIP
rooms
rooms
were
were
able
able
to
to
know
know
a
both
portion of the
sides.
information.
Indeed,
On this list,
but looking
there
at
were
this
over
brat's bone
140
structure,
treasures.
as long as he
the
can
dazzling
handle
array
it,
of
it would
treasures
not be
caused
hard for
Tang
him to increase
Ao's
his
eyes
cultivation.
to be dazzled.
Little girl, what do
Even
you
with
think?
Tang Ao's
Is this
experience,
Ao
when he
good
saw
enough
this
for you?
list,
If
he
he
couldn't
is,
help but
I will
sigh.
invite this brat up
The
for a
ice and
chat.
snow plains
After
were
Tang
vast
Ao had
and
beaten
full of
Yu
treasures.
Xuxing,
Just as Tang
Bufan was
Ao
already quite
was
satisfied
looking at the
with
list
Tang
with
Ao.
interest.
If it
The
were not
room's
for the fact
restriction
that
Tang
was
Ao's
suddenly
cultivation
touched,
was way too
this room's
low,
array had been
only at the
strengthened
fourth
by
level of
Tang
the seas of
Ao
Soul's
again,
realm, or
Su
else the room's
Bufan
door would
would
have
have
invited
invited
Tang Ao
Tang
up for a chat
Ao's
already.
powerful soul
Hearing her
remembrance
grandfather mention this
instantly
again,
swept out.
Su Yashwan
and he saw a
twitched her mouth.
blue-haired young man.
Then, the
She
strangest
suddenly had
thing
an
about this
idea.
young man
If
wasn't
you
his
want me to be
blue
his
hair,
partner,
but his
he would have
deep
to be at
blue
least at the
eyes.
life and
When
death
Tang
realm.
Ao used
No,
heavenly
I only need
extreme
the ninth
pupils,
floor of
his
Lin
blue
Haijing.
eyes would also
Otherwise,
appear.
let's not
However,
talk about this
the
anymore.
blue color of heavenly
Tang
extreme
Ao
pupils
was only at
seemed
the
fourth
very
level of
natural,
the seas of
while
Soul's
this young
realm.
man's blue
God knew
eyes
when
seemed
Tang
a bit
Ao
strange.
would be able to train to
Moreover,
the ninth floor.
his eyes
of Lin
faintly
Haijing.
flickered
Hearing
with
his
lightning.
granddaughter's words,
Without looking
Su
closely,
Buffon
one could
only
guess that
snort
this was a
coldly
martial artist
and
that
keep quiet.
cultivated lightning
Of course,
type techniques.
this snort was not
Moreover,
because he was
this technique's
dissatisfied
rank
with his precious
was definitely
granddaughter,
not low,
but because he was
or else there wouldn't
dissatisfied
be
with Tang
such a
Ao.
strange phenomenon.
If Tang Ao
young Master Lei
had the
Ming,
cultivation of
what
the
has
ninth
made
floor
you
of
so
Ling Hai
angry?
Jing,
A slightly
this matter would
chubby
have been
attendant
settled.
walked over and said
Just
to
as
Lei
he was
Ming
feeling
with a
depressed,
face full of
Su
smiles.
Buffon remembered
Though Lei
that the
Ming's
Xitigarbis
Palm
Thunder
Cemetery
created
was about to
spiderweb
open.
cracks on
Raising
the
one's
VIP
cultivation
room's door,
base in the
and this
Xitigarbis
attendant was
mausoleum
very angry,
was as easy
as he was able to become an
eating and
attendant of the
drinking.
Cloudfoot
As
auction.
long as one
He
did not
naturally
die in
wasn't
the
a normal
Xitigarbis
person.
mausoleum,
Treasure
their
gathering
strength
house
would
was
increase
indeed
by
one of the
several
top
levels
factions
after
of the
coming
ice
out.
and snow plains.
The most
But
powerful
the
things
ice
in
and
snow
snow
plains
cemetery
wasn't a
were
place
all
that
kinds
just
of
anyone
poisonous
could
creatures.
provoke.
And the
The
more
person in
powerful
front
the
of him,
alchemist,
Lei
the
Ming,
easier it was
was
to
someone
deal
that
with
couldn't
these
be
poisonous
easily
creatures.
offended.
Though
Thinking
Lei
of
Ming
this,
was
Su
arrogant, he
Buffon's
wasn't an
eyes
ignorant
brightened.
person.
This
On the contrary,
cemetery,
his martial
was
Tang
Tang
Ao's
was
chance
extremely
to make a
high,
comeback.
and he had a
long
natural
as this
lightning
brat
god
grasped
body.
this opportunity,
Despite his young age,
his precious
he had
granddaughter
already
would have a
comprehended
good
the
home.
lightning god
On the sword
formula
battle
to the
platform,
6th level. Although Tang
second
Ao
only
had
to his
defeated
elder
Yu
brother among his
Shushin,
peers.
he did not feel
Deacon Jean,
relaxed. This
At
room
this
has
moment,
always been
the
used
two
by
people
this
on the
young
platform
master.
who were not
Why are you
moving
looking
still
down on
gave
this young
Tang
master
Ao
this time
a lot of
and
pressure.
letting someone else occupy
After a
it?
while,
Facing
Kong
treasure
Wan,
trove
who was dressed
pavilion's
like a
deacon,
monk,
Lei
stood up.
Ming didn't back
Kong Wan
down.
put his palms together
Training in the
and
Thunder God
chanted,
absolute
"Amitabha
art would cause one's
give
temper to become
Ao
stronger.
Please make
and
your
Lei
move."
Ming was able to utilize this point to the extreme.
Chapter 10.
Deacon
16.
Jean thought it was
His
a big
family's
deal,
words are
but
so
after
strong.
hearing Lei Ming's
Tang
words,
Ao caught
Deacon
the
Jean
green lotus
immediately
sword with
smiled
one hand
and said,
and felt a sharp
"Young
pain in his
Master
palm.
Lei Ming is
He had been
too
injured
kind."
by the huge
It was the
force
servants
of the
who didn't
green
understand the
lotus sword.
rules,
Without
and
much
mistakenly
surprise,
gave
Tang
young
Ao
Master
directly
Lei
held
Ming's
the
room
green
to
lotus
someone else.
sword upside
I
down.
will arrange
and
another
fought with
VIP
Kong
room
when
for
in
young
close
Master
combat.
Lei Ming. Warriors who were known for their strength usually
As Deacon
did not
Jean
have
spoke,
high agility.
he yelled to the side.
Although it was
Someone
said that
arrange a
strength
good
could
VIP
defeat
room for
10
young Master
when
Lei
one
Ming,
did not have
and find two
absolute
pretty mates to
strength
serve
suppress
young
the
Master
opponent.
Lei Ming.
Powerful
Although this
strength
matter
obviously
didn't have much to
could
do
not
with
restrain
Tang
agile
Ao,
movement techniques.
Tang Ao
still didn't want to
flashed
stay in the
behind
room.
Kong Wan
If he stayed
and
in the
stabbed
room
out with his
when
sword.
someone else came
This
knocking,
time, wouldn't
Kong
that
Wan
make
did
him a
not
coward?
wave his trident
Moreover,
to block.
Instead, he
Ao
took off the
vaguely
huge
felt
prayer
that
beads
this
on his
matter
neck
wasn't simple,
and smashed them
because the
directly
moment
at
Lei
Tang
Ming
Ao's
attacked
head.
the door,
The whistling wind from the prayer
Ao
beads
clearly
let
felt
Tang
a
Ao
powerful
know
soul
that if he was
remembrance
hit by
pass
this
through his
attack,
array.
even with the protection of the battle Sagebone Life Soul, he would not be able to withstand
Chapter
it.
10.
Facing such an attack, although Tang Ao could only swing the green lotus sword,
used as a tool by
Chun
Chun
prayer
either.
beads. As Tang Ao had expected,
his hand,
a huge
and the
formation
instantly
instantly
came
came
from
from
the
the prayer
prayer
beads. Without the
knocking
support of the
Tang
formation,
Ao
the
into
room
the air.
door that Lei
This
Ming
time,
had destroyed
without waiting for
also
Tang
shattered.
Ao to land.
After the room door
Kong Wan
shattered,
immediately
everyone's
rushed
eyes looked towards
Tang
Tang
Ao
Ao.
released the
Deacon Jin's
underworld
eyes
life
were a bit
soul
puzzled,
in an instant,
as he didn't
and
know
the
why
10,000
Tang Ao
ghosts
was
seeking
arranged to
souls
stay in
instantly
Lei Ming's
wrapped
private
around
room.
Kong.
A trace of
Legs.
mockery flashed
Eat my
in Lei
sword.
Ming's eyes.
The moment
Kong Wan was
Brat,
bound by the
you've got some
10,000
guts.
ghosts,
You even
seeking
dare to take up
souls.
this young
Tang
master's
Ao
private room.
returned.
Deacon
Deacon
Jean
Jean
tactfully
won with a
didn't say
backhand sword.
anything.
Kong Wan was
Apart
shocked
from himself,
He hurriedly
the
put his
only
palms
people who had the
together and
right to
shouted,
arrange rooms
"Flow
were his
1,000
superiors."
hands."
Faced
Suddenly,
with this kind of
a
situation,
thick spiritual
if he,
power
Jin
erupted
Ching
from
Wu,
Kong Wan's
still
body,
couldn't guess that
and
someone
the
had
terrifying
purposely
spiritual
arranged it.
power
Then he
made
didn't
Tang
need to be a
Ao's
deacon at the
cheeks
Cloud
hurt.
Foothill
At the
auction.
same time,
Tang
thousands
Ao
of
took
golden
out the
palm
gold
prints
jade
appeared
token from the
behind
room
Kong Wan
and said to
These
Lei
palm
Ming,
prints
"Do
all
you know what
flew
this is?"
towards Tang
Lei
Ao,
Ming glanced at the
who was
jade
wielding the
token
sword,
and said
Tang
with some
Ao
disdain,
shot out
"This
the
is the
green
token
lotus
to
sword,
open the VIP
which split
room.
into 7.
It has always been
7
used by this
kills
young
divine
master,
way,
but this time
Kong
this young
Wan's martial
master
skill
came
was
half
a
a
bit
day
powerful,
late, and
so Tang
didn't
Ao
have time to pick
did
up the
not
token.
dare to hide it. Since the
He
token is in
immediately
my hands,
displayed the
then
7
this
kills
VIP
sex
room
ultimate
is
technique,
naturally mine.
the
to
7
use this
kills
time.
divine
After
path.
speaking, the
Tang
7 green
Ao
lotus
looked
swords
towards Deacon
immediately
Jean.
turned into
Could it be that in
7
such a
streams
large
of light
cloud
foothill
encircled
auction,
around
no
Tang
one would
Ao?
care if the VIP
sword
room
arena
door
was immediately
destroyed by
filled with
someone,
sword
or could the
chi and
VIP
blade
room
light.
door,
Although Kong
be destroyed
Wan's
at
spiritual
will,
power
without
was pure,
any
he
responsibility.
did not have the ability
Deacon
to
Jean
fight again
cursed
after
in his
using
heart.
a martial
Tang
skill like
Ao
the Flow
was
1000
simply trying to
hands with all
divert
his
the
strength.
trouble.
Just
He originally
now,
didn't want
in
to
a moment
provoke
of
this little
desperation,
tyrant. Although
Lei
Kong
Ming,
Wan had
but
used
Tang
the Flow
Ao
1000
had
hands,
already said it like
he did
this.
not use
If
his
he still
full
didn't
strength,
care,
then
at
he
this
wouldn't be able
moment,
to continue
Kong
being
would
a deacon.
immediately smash
Young
the
Master Lei
trident
Ming,
in Tang Ao's
before
head
Deacon
with the
Jean
trident.
could
Tang
finish,
Ao
he was interrupted
pointed
by
his
Lei
finger,
Ming,
and the
he saw that Lei
10,000
Ming's
seeking
attitude
ghosts on the
had
ground
changed
suddenly
greatly.
leaped up
He very
and locked
sincerely
on Kong when
saluted
trident.
Deacon Jean, which
After
made
the
Deacon
trident
Jean
was locked
feel
by the soul,
very flattered.
seeking
Although
10,000
Deacon Jean
ghosts,
and Lei
Kong
Ming's
Wan roared,
father,
"Break
Lei
for me."
Tiangang,
Tang
were
Ao
of the
was
same
shocked
generation.
to see Kong.
This was the
when
first
using
time that
brute
Lei
force
Ming
to
had
break
saluted
free
him.
from the soul,
Deacon Jean,
seeking
this nephew
10,000
is
ghosts.
impulsive
After the
and has
trident was
accidentally
locked by the
damaged
Flow
treasure
Seeking
pavilion's
pavilion's
door. Kong
This
shouted,
nephew is
"Break."
willing to compensate
Then,
for the
Tang
losses
Ao
suffered
was
by the
shocked
auction
to see
house
Kong
and
and
his
his
little
brute
brother
force to
I
break
hope Deacon
free
Jean will be
from the
magnanimous
flow-seeking
enough
spirits.
to forgive me.
The rosary beads
Although Lei Ming
gave
looked
Tang
calm on the
Ao
surface,
his
the
heart
feeling
was cold.
of a mountain.
He was an
Having
out-and-out
learned his lesson
hedonistic
just
son of
now,
a rich family.
Tang Ao
But if he was really
did not
a
waste
hedonistic
any time
son
on
of a
Kong
rich family,
when his rosary
he wouldn't have
beads.
achieved what
Instead,
he had today.
he immediately
Just now,
rushed
he had clearly
towards
felt
Kong
an
One.
extremely
Following
powerful
that,
soul
Tang
remembrance
Ao put away the
sweep through
Azure
this
Lotus
area.
Sword soul
He had only
and
felt
the
this
protective
level
battle
of soul
sage
remembrance from his
soul,
big brother
and tried his best to
father.
communicate with the underworld life soul.
In
Treasure
Tang
Trove
Ao's
Pavilion,
powerful
there were
soul
only
power
two
swept
old
into the
fellows
void door,
whose soul
but it
remembrance
was
was
completely
this strong.
swallowed. One was
Vaguely,
Treasure Trove
Tang
Pavilion's
Ao saw
old
a
pitch-black
master,
beast, while
that
the
looked
other
like a
was
primordial
Treasure
beast.
Trove Pavilion's
This demon
grand elder.
beast was so
He had always
huge
used
that
this room.
Tang Ao
Previously,
could only see
it was
its
also his
claws
father
when he
and
spread
big
out his
brother
soul
who
power.
used it.
This
Therefore,
demonic beast body
there was no way
too
that Treasure
big.
Trove Pavilion
Tang
didn't
Ao
know he would come
could
to
only
this room
see
again.
its claws
This time,
even after using
this room
all of
wasn't
the spirit
arranged for
power.
someone else to use. It seemed like a coincidence, but he,
Chapter
Lei
10:17,
Ming, was someone who
after
didn't
being
believe
unable
in
to communicate
coincidences.
with this
This
ancient
meant that
beast,
someone wanted to
Tang
deal with him,
Ao,
or
was
rather,
greatly disappointed.
someone wanted to use
He had
him
no
to deal with
choice
this
but to take out the
unknown
Shin
youth in
known
front of
cauldron.
him. If he could see
a
through
loud
this
sound
youth's
rang
background,
out, causing
Lei Ming wouldn't be
everyone's
worried at
eardrums
all.
to hurt.
Among the
Some
young
of the weaker
masters
martial
and
artists
young
even
ladies
spat
of
out
various
a
top
mouthful of
factions,
blood.
there
This
wasn't
sound
anyone
reverberated
that Lei
through
Ming
almost
didn't dare
half
offend.
of Yunlu City Square.
Many people in Yunlu City Square looked in the direction of the
Chapter
Heavenly Fragrance
10,
restaurant
27,
in confusion.
No,
in
I'll
Shangwan
compensate
1
you with
Er's
500,000.
room, she was already
Lei
in a
Ming.
daze. How should I
Not
address
only
you,
had
friend?
Tang
As the
Ao
saying
defeated
goes,
Yu
no
Shushin,
discord,
but he was
no
also
concord.
evenly matched.
Why don't we make
with
friends?
Kong Wen.
Compared
After
to
saying
Shangwan
that,
1 Er's days,
Lei Ming
Hong Chong
handed
was
over a
pleasantly
storage
surprised.
Within
She
the
didn't
ring,
expect
there
that
were 500,000
was
mid-grade
not
snow
only
beads.
skilled in alchemy,
Although
but was also
500,000 mid-grade
so
snow
powerful in
beads
battle.
was nothing
Thinking
to
of the
Tang
bet
Ao.
just now,
Tang
Hong
Ao
Chong looked
couldn't
at
help
Shangwan
but
Wan
admire
with
Lei
evil
Ming's
intentions.
decisiveness.
Shangwan
Evidently,
Wan, Lei Ming
turned
had also
around
noticed
and
that
saw
something
Hong
was amiss.
Chang's evil
Tang
smile.
Ao didn't accept
Shangwan
the
Wan
storage
couldn't
ring
help but
that
take a
Lei
step
Ming
back.
handed over.
Sister Hong
Instead,
Chong,
he
can
said
we stop
lightly,
playing?
I'm a little
Since it's
scared.
a misunderstanding
In front of others,
Brother Lei,
Shangwan Wan
please go ahead.
was a natural
Tang
and
Ao walked
unrestrained
straight back
beauty,
to his room,
graceful
closed the
and
array
elegant.
formation.
But in front
Although
of Hong
the door was
Chong,
broken,
Shangwan Wan
isolation
always
effect
felt like
of
a
Tang
little girl.
Ao's array
That won't do.
was
A
obviously
promise
not
cannot be
something
taken back.
an ordinary wooden
Furthermore,
door could compare
the outcome
to.
of the battle between
After
Tang Ao closed the
Kong
formation,
when is still
neither Lei
uncertain.
Ming nor
Sister
attendant
Wan
Jean could spy
are you
on
that
Tang
unconfident?
Ao in the room.
Don't worry.
Lei Ming put
Even
away
if
the
Sister
storage
Wan
ring
loses,
nonchalantly.
I won't do
But
anything
a sharp
to you.
glint
flashed
Although
in
she
his
said
eyes.
this, he'd already
Hong
taken a
Chang's
step
heart was
back,
full of evil
but Tang
thoughts.
Ao didn't
Shangwan
know what was
Wan
good for
looked
him
at Hong
and was
Chang's
still
expression
occupying
and was a
the room.
little scared.
Does he really think
But
our
she
lightning
still
temple
nodded
is made of
obediently.
mud?
Prajna
Killing
Palm,
Blade.
go
Kong wasn't
investigate
affected
this
by the
kid's
huge
background.
shock just now.
Lei Ming said
After
coldly
catching
as
the
he
prayer
walked to the
beads that
VIP
flew
room,
back to
attendant
him.
Jean,
Spiritual
arranged for him.
power. The one
Surged
called
from his
Killing
hands.
Blade was an
A
unassuming
powerful
middle-aged
and
man.
overbearing
The only
palm
thing
print
different about
pressed
him
down
was the
on
simple
Tang
broadsword
Ao
wrapped
like a
in
mountain.
coarse cloth
Facing
on his
this
back.
powerful palm
Both he and his
force,
saber were
Tang
so
Ao
simple,
felt like
but
he was
anyone who had
suffocating.
seen him use
However,
a saber would not
Tang
think
Ao
so. Was also
because when
a
he used
strong
his blade,
fighter who had
it
experienced
wasn't simple
hundreds
and
of battles.
calm,
Naturally,
but rather arrogant.
You wouldn't be
and
frightened by
domineering.
Kong.
Killing
Wen's
Blade
martial technique
wasn't his original
Tang
name,
Ao
and
even
pushed the
he
Shin known
himself
cauldron
didn't
out
remember
without
it.
hesitation.
It was only because of
At
his
the same
arrogant
time,
and
Tang
domineering
Ao
blade
took out the
skills that
primordial
most
sacred
cultivators
sky
called him
vow
Killing
that he hadn't
Blade.
used for a long
I'm not
time.
going. Get
Kong
someone
Wen
else
slapped
to do
his
it.
palm
Although
against
Lei
the Shin
Ming
known
was the
cauldron.
young master
Then
of Frenzy
he realized
Blade.
that he had been
If
locked
Frenzy Blade
onto by
didn't
a
want to do
sharp
something
aura that he could
even
not
Lei
escape
Ming
from.
couldn't ask
Kong
him
Wen
to
didn't
do it.
dare to say
Lei
anything
Ming
else
was not
and
angry
immediately
after
jumped
hearing
off the
Frenzied
sword
dueling
words.
ring.
Instead,
The monk
he
admits
laughed.
defeat. If I ask
Although
you to kill
Kong
Tang Ao,
didn't know how
will you do
powerful
it?
the primordial
After thinking
sacred
for a
heaven
while,
bow was,
frenzied, he could sense
sword
that
nodded
this divine
seriously.
bow
5
had
million
gathered
mid-grade
all of
snow
Tang
pearls.
Ao's power
I'll go.
into one attack.
Every time,
If it were not
frenzied
for the
sword
suppression
killed
of the
someone,
sword
he
battling
demanded a
platform,
sky-high
Kong
reward.
would not be
No one
afraid.
knew why he demanded
But on the
such a high
platform, he
reward.
really did
But
not
anyone
have
who
the
asked
confidence to
frenzied
take that
sword to
attack
kill
with his
someone would
fourth
definitely
level
be
seed
willing
of
to pay the
Soul's
price.
Realm cultivation. After receiving the reward, Frenzied Sword would definitely give them a satisfactory result. However, Lei Ming was clearly different from others. He was never willing to spend money on killing people, not even a low-grade snow bead. For something like killing, he would only be willing to do it if he harmed others to benefit himself. If he harmed others without benefiting himself, he would rather die than do it. Then I'll let him live for 2 more days. Lei Ming's face didn't show any emotions, but at this moment, he was really angry. Tang Ao didn't know if Lei Ming was angry, but Tang Ao didn't care about these things. Now, what Tang Ao was most concerned about was the auction list in his hands. After looking through it a few times, Tang Ao finally picked out 3 items from the list that he had to get. One was called Misty Shadowgrass. Although Misty Shadowgrass was a type of spiritual herb, it couldn't be used to refine pills. Instead, it was used to refine weapons. Chapter 10:28. The spirit ice fruit in the Xitigarbha cemetery was Tang Ao's only chance to recover his strength. If he couldn't find the fruit in the cemetery, then Tang Ao didn't know
when he would be able to recover his strength. Moreover, with Tang Ao's understanding of the ice plane, Tang Ao knew that even if he recovered his strength, he wouldn't be the top existence in the ice plane. These days, Tang Ao had seen a lot of life and death realm 6th-level experts, and even those above that. Even if Tang Ao recovered his strength, he would only be at the 1st level of life and death realm. Facing these old guys, Tang Ao didn't have much of a chance of winning. Fortunately, Tang Ao didn't have much of a grudge against these people. As long as he recovered his strength, Tang Ao could find a way to leave the ice plane. Even if he didn't leave the ice plane, after recovering his strength, Tang Ao would have the power to protect himself. In the conference hall of the Treasure Trove Tower, almost all of the upper echelons of the tower were present. Chen Nanha, whom Tang Ao had seen before, wasn't sitting in the main seat, but right next to it. At this moment, the old leader of the Treasure Trove Tower, Chen Shou, was sitting there. Although there were many rumors saying that Chen Shou had exhausted his lifespan and died of old age, Chen Shou was still present. But at this moment, Chen Shou's eyes were like lightning, looking at the people in the hall in high spirits. There were a total of 8 people in the hall. Besides him and Chen Nanha, there was also the current leader of the Treasure Trove Tower and the 5 Great Elders. Chen Shou glanced at the people in the hall and said lightly, "The realm above the life and death realm is called the astral reaching realm. Above the astral reaching realm are the yin-yang and muddy sky realms. The realm above the muddy sky realm is called Tao Master. It is said that the current rulers of the realms are the experts of this realm. But above Tao Master, there's another realm called God King Realm." Everyone in the meeting hall was silent. It was obvious that this was not the first time they had heard of these secrets. "This old man has told you many times, but do you know the Beitang tribe?" Chen Shou said a tribe's name cautiously. But when Chen Shou said the name, even Chen Nanha was confused. In the beginning, there was only one tribe, the Beitang tribe. Rumor has it that the Beitang tribe is the descendant of a god king. Later on, many factions rebelled and massacred the descendants of the Beitang tribe. The Peak faction that rebelled learned a shocking piece of news from the descendants of the Beitang tribe. The Xidagarba cemetery is where the god king died. When Chen Shou revealed this piece of news, Chen Nanha was slightly moved, but he still asked, "Old Tower Lord, how did you know about this? Why have I never heard you mention it?" "Because my treasure trove pavilion's ancestors were from one of the forces that rebelled against us. Didn't we say before that the time wasn't right? But now our opportunity has come. As long as one could obtain the inheritance of a divine king expert, even if he could not become a divine king, it was very possible for him to become a Tao Master. That's why in this trip to the Xidagarba cemetery, apart from us and the Lightning Temple, everyone else must die." Even in the VIP lounge, Tang Ao felt a chill sweep past him. This chill was very familiar to Tang Ao. It was killing intent, but it wasn't directed at Tang Ao, so Tang Ao didn't know where it came from. Since this matter had nothing to do with him, Tang Ao didn't want to cause trouble. Right now, Tang Ao only wanted to hold the Cloud Foothill auction as soon as possible and bid for what he needed. Chapter 1029. At this moment, on the Cloud Foothill Auction House's stage, a charming woman wearing a red dress appeared. This woman's figure was impressive, and her appearance was pretty. Her provocative figure caused the fighters below the stage to clamor. "I am Red Apricot. We meet again. This Cloud Foothill auction will still be hosted by me." This was Tang Ao's first time at the Cloud Foothill auction, so Tang Ao didn't know that the previous Cloud Foothill auctions were hosted by Red Apricot. However, Tang Ao's focus clearly wasn't there. Tang Ao's soul remembrance swept out, and he discovered that the red cloth behind Red Apricot was covering an iron cage. Inside the iron cage was a naked young girl. She was very nervous as she curled up in a corner of the cage. Though there was some dust on her face, it couldn't hide her calamitous beauty. "Lady Red Apricot, are you being auctioned this time? How come I don't see any auction items?" A large man said without restraint. Red Apricot didn't get angry at his words, and instead giggled. "If it's Red Apricot, how much is Big Brother 2MO prepared to pay?" Hearing Red Apricot say this person's name, Tang Ao immediately remembered this person's identity.
Though this large man was dressed sloppily, his identity wasn't simple. However, this person's identity was not simple. He was the leader of the 10,000 horse hall. Divine Saber, 2mo Tang Ao looked behind him, and indeed he saw a large golden blade on his back. This blade's back was 3 inches wide, but the blade was as thin as a cicada's wing. No one would be willing to take a hit from such a blade. If Lady Red Apricot is auctioning, I'll bet this large blade, 2mo said, and smashed the long blade on his back onto the table in front of him. Though his aura was frightening, not many people in the auction house were scared by him. I won't joke with Big Brother 2mo. Though this auction isn't Red Apricot, this little sister's appearance isn't inferior to Red Apricot's. As Red Apricot spoke, she pulled back the red cloth behind her, and an iron cage appeared in front of everyone. In the iron cage, there was a young girl with snow-white fox ears. The young girl was currently curled up in a corner of the iron cage, shivering. "Monster race," someone exclaimed after seeing the young girl's pair of fox ears. The Cloud Foothill Auction House has good methods to be able to get their hands on such goods. I want to buy it and have a taste. TSK. How could it be your turn to obtain such a miraculous item? This time, young Master Lei Ming and many other young masters have come. It's just that these people are in the VIP lounge, and we can't see them. Tang Ao did not have the same thoughts as those people, but Tang Ao still wanted to buy this Demon Clan girl. When Tang Ao was seriously injured and on the verge of death, it was Shun Menghan from the demon race who saved him. Although this young girl shouldn't have much of a relationship with Shin Menghan, since they met here, it wasn't impossible to save her once. Tang Ao had 26 million mid-grade snow beads on him, so it was not a problem for him to buy this Demon Clan girl. As everyone can see, this little girl is a young lady from the Snow Fox clan. It is no secret that the ice and snow plains and the 5 elements demonic domain are connected by a passage. This little girl accidentally entered my ice and snow plains from the 5 elements demonic domain. The starting price is 1 million low-grade snow beads. Let's start the bidding. 1. 5 million low-grade snow beads. I'm worried that this little girl was sent by the 5 elements demonic domain to spy on my ice and snow plains, so I'll definitely interrogate her after I buy her. I hope that everyone can help me get rid of this great trouble for the ice and snow plains. 2 million low-grade snow beads. My starting point is the same as Priestways. However, when it comes to interrogating people, the 9 Doors Gate is clearly more skilled. Chapter 10:30. This gentleman bid 5 million low-grade snow beads. It seems that he is determined to get this monster clan girl. Is there anyone who wants a bit higher? If not, this delicate monster clan young master will belong to this gentleman. There are many beautiful women in the ice and snow plain, but it's my first time seeing such a beautiful monster race woman. After Tang Ao made his bid, the originally quiet venue immediately became noisy again. 60,000 mid-grade snow beads. A clear and sweet female voice came from the room next to Tang Ao's. Hearing that there was a woman bidding, everyone was stunned for a moment, but it didn't take long before someone bid. 70,000 mid-grade snow beads. Everyone knew the person who bid this time. It was Lei Ming who had a conflict with Tang Ao. Obviously, Lei Ming was also very interested in this monster clan girl. 100,000 mid-grade snow beads. Tang Ao already knew that if he increased the price step by step, it would definitely reach a sky-high price. However, Tang Ao didn't expect that there would still be people competing with him from 10,000 to 50,000 mid-grade snow beads. If he didn't show a firm attitude at this time, the price would be even higher. Therefore, Tang Ao directly raised the price to 100,000. If it wasn't because of the enmity with Tang Ao or the determination to get this monster clan girl, no one would continue to bid in this situation. However, Tang Ao had not participated in many auctions, so he was still lacking in experience. Those who participated in the auction were not all guests. There were also internal staff of the Cloud Foothill Auction House. If an auction item did not sell for the price that the Cloud Foothill Auction House wanted, most of the time, the Cloud Foothill Auction House would use this method to recall the auction item. 150,000 snow beads. A gloomy voice came from a VIP room. This voice was a bit cold, but no one could tell the owner's emotions from the voice. Tang Ao was a bit confused. The Winter Plain didn't lack beauties. Even though this Monster Clan girl looked pure and beautiful, but apart from her Monster Clan identity, it wasn't impossible to find such a beauty in the Winter Plain. 1,500,000 low-grade snow beads could buy a few big houses if it was used to buy ordinary, beautiful female slaves. If that was the case, why were there still people raising the price? After pondering for a moment, Tang Ao suddenly understood. The voice of the person who made the bid just now was gloomy. It was impossible to tell his emotions from his voice. But in reality, the gloomy voice was fake. This person was probably suppressing his voice to hide his nervousness. If Tang Ao's guess was right, this person should be someone from the Cloud Foothill auction. In the Cloud Foothill auction house's estimation, this demon race young lady could be sold for 100,000 snow beads to 150,000 snow beads. Therefore, when he offered 100,000, the man hesitated for a moment before increasing the price to 15. It was also because of his lack of experience that the other party dared to increase the price. Previously, every time someone raised the price, Hong Xing would make a bid. This time, however, after this person raised the price, Hong Xing did not immediately make a bid. Evidently, the person who bid just now was Cloud Foothill Auction House's own people. After figuring out the relationship, Tang Ao sighed helplessly. If it was any other item, Tang Ao might not be such a spendthrift. But the item being auctioned was this demon race young lady. Therefore, Tang Ao could only increase the price and buy it. But Tang Ao did not immediately increase the price. With the lesson just now, Tang Ao more or less understood some auction techniques. Chapter 1031. 150,000 going twice. Is a no higher bid? Although this was not a public auction at the Cloud Foothill Auction House, Treasure Trove Pavilion still had to find a way to sell this monster race girl for a good price. However, he was afraid that he wouldn't even be able to get 100,000 snow pearls. Thus, Deacon Jean, who was bidding in the VIP room, had a bitter expression on his face. The one who had bid against Tang Ao just now was this Deacon Jean. However, he knew a secret technique that could change his voice, so Tang Ao didn't know it was him. 160,000 snow pearls. I'll buy this little girl. Uncles, please let me have it. Just as Tang Ao was about to bid, the crisp female voice in the room next to Tang Ao made another bid. Earlier, Tang Ao didn't pay much attention to it, but now, Tang Ao realized that this voice was somewhat familiar, as if he had heard it somewhere before. Perhaps it had been too long, or perhaps he hadn't had much contact with this person, so Tang Ao couldn't remember who this person was. After the woman made her bid, the people in the venue also whispered to each other. Which family is this girl from? Why is she so generous? Even though I've only heard it once, there's no way I would mistake the voice of the Chu clan's little princess for someone else. The little princess of the Chu clan? Could it be Chu Xuan, the daughter of the current valley master of the medicine refining valley and the chief of the Purple Flame tribe? That's right, it's Chu Xuan. She rarely shows herself in front of people. Now that you mention it, it really is her voice. In the VIP room, Tang Ao also remembered who this person was. The woman in the next room was called Chu Xuan. Not long after Tang Ao came to the ice and snow plain, her spiritual pet, Little Fox, had fought with Tang Ao for the wood ice fruit. Tang Ao had a good impression of Chu Xuan. When Chu Xuan faced Tang Ao, who had an ordinary cultivation, she did not snatch the wooden ice fruit from Tang Ao. Therefore, when Tang Ao left, he gave Chu Xuan a spiritual beast pill. Tang Ao still remembered this matter clearly, but he wasn't sure if Chu Xuan still remembered it. However, Tang Ao was a little puzzled. He didn't know why Chu Xuan wanted to fight with him over this demon girl. 170,000 middle-grade snow pearls and 1 spirit beast elixir. After thinking for a while, Tang Ao's lips curled into a smile as he said. In a compartment of the VIP room, Chu Xiaohan frowned. She felt that this Demon Clan girl was very pitiful, so she wanted to buy this Demon Clan girl out of sympathy. However, Chu Xiaohan didn't expect that the guy in the VIP room next to her would keep raising the price with her. Just as Chu Xiaohan was about to raise the price again to make it difficult for this person to back down, she was stunned by the spiritual beast pill. Not only Chu Xiaohan, but everyone who heard Tang Ao's offer was also puzzled. Although the Cloud Foothill Auction House also had the concept of exchanging items, but the items that were exchanged were all priceless treasures. This demon race young girl was clearly not in this category. While Chu Xiaohan was puzzled, the little fox in her arms suddenly popped its head out. The little fox was very intelligent, so it naturally heard about the spirit beast pill. The little fellow's eyes lit up and it stretched out its little paw to scratch Chu Xiaohan. Chu Xiaohan lowered her head and saw that there was some uniform saliva on the corner of the little fox's mouth. It was obviously craving for food. Seeing this, a figure suddenly flashed in Chu Xiaohan's mind. It's him. Chu Xiaohan recalled the youth who gave the little fox the spirit beast pill. That person seemed to be called Tang Ao. Could it be that Tang Ao was in the VIP room next to hers? Chapter 1032. Hong Xing didn't know about the matter between Tang Ao and Chu Xiaohan. After Tang Ao gave this strange price, Hong Xing was confused as to why Chu Xiaohan didn't continue bidding. Though she was confused, Hong Xing still said, 7 million low-grade snow beads and a spirit beast pill. Are there any other bids? This price was already satisfactory to Cloud Foothill Auction House, so even if no one bid, Hong Xing wouldn't be disappointed. 7 million snow beads wasn't a small number to normal fighters, so naturally, no one wanted to increase the price. Finally, Tang Ao won the bid for the demon race girl with 170,000 middle-grade snow beads and a spirit beast pill. A transportation array appeared in front of Tang Ao. Tang Ao put 170,000 middle-grade snow beads and a spirit beast pill on it. The transportation array flashed with white light, and the snow beads and spirit beast disappeared. Not long after, someone knocked on Tang Ao's door. Tang Ao scanned with his soul remembrance and found that 2 attendants had brought the demon race girl to Tang Ao's door. Tang Ao opened the entrance to the array formation and let the monster race girl in, while the 2 attendants tactfully left the place. The demon race girl entered Tang Ao's room and became even more nervous. However, her soul power was restricted, and she couldn't resist at all. Can you understand me? Tang Ao smiled warmly at the demon race girl, but didn't go near her. Shueli saw that Tang Ao didn't seem to have any ill intentions. Though she was still afraid, she still nodded. She could understand the human language. In reality, due to the large number of human experts, their array, tool, and pill skills far surpassed the demon race. Therefore, in order to learn human skills, the demon race completely understood the human language. In the demon city, other than a few places, the majority of places used the human language. Shueli not only understood the human language, she could even speak it. Don't be nervous. I'm good friends with 5-element demon regions, ice snow cities, Shenmenghan. When Tang Ao was seriously injured, he used the space escape talisman to escape to the ice and snow plane. Although he did not die, he was in a state of exhaustion. If it weren't for Shenmenghan's help, Tang Ao would have fallen again. The last time he died, the chaotic hexagonal mirror allowed him to reincarnate. If he died again, Tang Ao wasn't sure if the chaotic hexlight mirror could help him reincarnate. You know Sister Shenmenghan? Shueli looked at Tang Ao in surprise. Although it was rumored that the snow plains and the 5 elements demonic domain were connected by a passage, no one knew where this passage was. The reason why he had mistakenly entered the snow plane was because he had accidentally fallen into a formation while exploring a ruin. When he woke up, he found himself in the snow plane. When this Tang was dying, Miss Shenmenghan saved this Tang's life. Take this pill,
and the spiritual shackles on your body will be dissolved. As Tang Ao spoke, he threw a pill to Xue Li. Tang Ao could tell that Xue Li's spiritual power was shackled by someone. Otherwise, Xue Li, a life and death realm level 1 martial artist, would not have been so afraid. Although Xue Li took the pill from Tang Ao, she did not take it. Obviously, she still did not trust Tang Ao. However, when Tang Ao took out a token with the word Shun carved on it, Xue Li completely believed him. This token was the token that Shun Menghan had given to Tang Ao. She told Tang Ao that if he ever went to the 5 Elements demonic domain, he could go to the Ice Snow City's Shun clan to look for her. Chapter 1033. After recovering her strength, Xue Li could also see Tang Ao's cultivation, 4th level C of Soul's Realm. After seeing Tang Ao's cultivation, Xue Li was a bit surprised. Xue Li originally thought that Tang Ao's cultivation was much stronger than hers, which was why Tang Ao dared to let her recover her strength. She didn't expect Tang Ao's cultivation to be so weak. With such a huge gap in strength, even if she wanted to leave now, Tang Ao wouldn't be able to stop her. You can leave now. Say hi to Shin Menghan for me when you see her, and give her these things as well. Just as Xue Li was thinking about how to escape, Tang Ao directly threw a storage ring to her. I can leave now. Xue Li was stunned. Snow beads were a common currency in the 5 Elements demonic region. She knew that Tang Ao spent 1,700,000 snow beads to buy her, but now Tang Ao was willing to let her leave. Although Xue Li was innocent, she still felt that there was a conspiracy behind this. However, what Xue Li didn't know was that she was really overthinking this time. This is a holy healing item, Great Lotus Pill. Xue Li's soul remembrance scanned a bottle of pills in the storage ring. Although she had only seen it a few times, Xue Li still recognized it immediately. This is a 6th rank spirit weapon. So many. Xue Li's soul remembrance was still searching in the storage ring given by Tang Ao, but Xue Li's little head was already dizzy. Tang Ao slightly paused and let Xue Li continue to check the treasures in the storage ring, while his eyes looked towards the auction stage. This was the 11th treasure of this auction. Tang Ao wasn't interested in the pills, talismans, spirit weapons, and spirit materials that were auctioned just now. However, Tang Ao was quite interested in the item being auctioned now. There was a jade box on the auction stage, and a tree branch was lying peacefully in the jade box. Even with Tang Ao's eyesight, he couldn't tell what kind of tree this tree branch came from. As you can see, this is a branch. Not even the Medicine Refining Valley Senior Medicine King and Senior Old Medicine King knew what kind of tree this branch came from. However, although our Treasure Trove Pavilion does not know what tree this branch came from, we can clearly tell everyone that this branch was brought out from the Xitigarbis Cemetery by someone. On the auction stage, Hong Xing introduced the origin of the branch to the crowd. Although Red Apricot couldn't tell what branch it was definitely a treasure just because it was brought out of the Xitigarbis Cemetery. Contrary to what most people thought, the Xitigarbis Mausoleum contained countless exotic flowers and plants. However, the trees were all gray. An earthy branch like this was indeed very rare. Moreover, Treasure Trove Pavilion had always been trustworthy. So as long as Treasure Trove Pavilion said that this branch came from the Xitigarbis Cemetery, there would be no mistake. There are 2 ways to auction this branch. One is to bid based on the branch's usage. In other words, if you know the use of this branch or know some information, you can use Soul Remembrance to send me a message. If there is no mistake, this branch belongs to you. The other way of bidding is to start with 3 million low-grade snow beads. The highest bidder wins. Let the auction begin. Lady Hong Xing, although this branch's origin is extraordinary, we don't even know its use. Isn't it a bit expensive to sell it for 3 million low-grade snow beads? After Hong Xing made her bid, someone immediately questioned. Escort Luo's business connects the north and south. Does he lack a trifling 3 million low-grade snow beads? From what I see, if no one else bids, how about Escort Luo buy this branch?
Chapter 1034. 30,000 Mid-Grade Snow Beads. Since no one else was bidding, Tang Ao decided to take the lead. Tang Ao had 12 million mid-grade snow beads on him, more than enough for Tang Ao to squander. After Tang Ao made his bid, the crowd's attention once more turned to Tang Ao's room. Of all the people in the VIP rooms, Tang Ao was the most active. Up until now, apart from Chu Shuahan who made a bid, the rest of the people in the VIP room did not have any reaction. Clearly, the items being auctioned were not up to their standards. But Tang Ao had been bidding from the start. Other than the pills and spiritual weapons, Tang Ao had participated in the bidding, even if he hadn't bought anything. The crowd couldn't help but be curious about Tang Ao's identity. Anyone who could enter the VIP rooms had to be someone important, but no one knew which faction Tang Ao was from. Go and find out who is in the Heaven VIP Room C. Give me the information of the person in VIP Room C, Yi Zichen said. Go. Not only did Tang Ao's actions attract the attention of the crowd, many of those who had left the VIP rooms were also interested in Tang Ao. VIP Room C had always been used by Lightning Temple's Lei Ming, but the one who had made the bid this time was clearly not Lei Ming. In other words, someone had stolen Lei Ming's VIP room and dared to participate in the Yunlu auction without the slightest scruple. The Lightning Temple was the overlord of the Winter Plains. Everyone wanted to know who it was that dared to touch this iron plate. Hong Xing's eyes lit up. She didn't know anything about Tang Ao at all. Up until now, all she knew about Tang Ao was that he was a rich and bold man. Tang Ao's stance had been very domineering in the previous auction. Intentionally or unintentionally, Tang Ao had offended many people. This gentleman has bid 3 million low-grade snow pearls. Is there a higher bid? I'm also interested in this piece of wood. I will compete with you for 50,000 mid-grade snow beads. This time, it was an old man in the VIP room who made the bid. Clearly, the old man was not just interested in the branch. Otherwise, he would not have increased the bid by 2 million low-grade snow beads. Tang Ao really couldn't recognize this piece of wood. However, when Tang Ao used his soul remembrance to scan this piece of wood, he clearly felt an aura similar to the chaotic hexlight realm. This meant that the branch was most likely a treasure of the same level as the chaotic hexlight mirror. Even if it was just a fragment, it was still priceless. How could Tang Ao miss such a good item? 60,000 mid-grade snow pearls. After the old man made his bid, Tang Ao immediately increased his bid. 100,000 mid-grade snow pearls. Young people don't know the use of this item. It's better not to waste it. The old man was obviously dissatisfied with Tang Ao's increase in bid, and also expressed that he knew the use of this branch. Oh, the wooden Taoist knows the use of this branch. Tang Ao didn't know who the old man was, but Hong Xing immediately guessed his identity. Of course I know a thing or two. However, this is only hearsay, so I don't need this information to bid for this piece of wood. The wooden Taoist obviously didn't hear it from hearsay. He actually had a small piece of wood that looked exactly the same. Although the wooden Taoist didn't know much about this piece of wood, he knew that it was a priceless treasure. Chapter 1035. 500,000 middle-grade snow beads. If anyone can tell me the use of this piece of wood, I'm willing to offer 500,000 middle-grade snow beads. Tang Ao said after thinking for a while. Tang Ao's bid naturally silenced the noisy auction. 500,000 middle-grade snow beads was equivalent to 50 million low-grade snow beads. To many martial artists, this was already an astronomical number. But now, Tang Ao was spending 500,000 middle-grade snow beads just to buy a piece of wood of unknown use. Could it be that in this world, there were people who were stupid and had too much money? Right now, everyone's opinion of Tang Ao was that he was stupid and had too much money. If not for this, it was hard to imagine that someone would pay such a high price for an unknown branch. The younger generation will surpass us in time. Since you want this branch so much, I won't fight with you. In a VIP room, the wooden Taoist's face was very dark. Qing Shu, go investigate the background of the kid in the third room. The wooden Taoist said to the disciple behind him in a dark voice. Zhao Qing Shu shook his head. Master, disciple just went to investigate. This person is called Tang Ao and seems to be from the black-yellow continent. As for other information, disciple has no way of knowing. However, disciple does know one thing. Not long ago, this Tang Ao had a conflict with Lightning Palace's young master, Lei Ming. Afterwards, Lei Ming retreated. So he's just a kid of unknown origin. Keep an eye on him. Once the auction is over, I'll go meet him. This young master is so desperate for this piece of wood. Does he know its use? If young master knows its use, you can use soul remembrance to send a message to Hong Xing. This piece of wood can be given to young master for free. At the same time, Treasure Gathering Tower will give you 1 million middle-grade snow beads as a reward. Hong Xing didn't say it out loud this time, instead secretly sending a message to Tang Ao. Tang Ao had already thought of an excuse. I've seen a similar tree in an ancient book in my sect. Plus, I don't lack snow beads, so I want to buy it to study. Tang Ao didn't know much about this piece of wood, but Tang Ao knew that this piece of wood was a treasure on the same level as the chaotic hexagonal mirror. The original form of this treasure should be a tree, but for some reason, it was damaged. If the original tree was seen as a magic treasure, then this branch could be seen as a magic treasure fragment. Hearing Tang Ao say this, Hong Xing was a bit disappointed, but she still smiled and said, "This young master bids 500,000 mid-quality snow beads. If there is no higher bid, then this wood belongs to this young master." Many people could see that this piece of wood was special, but as for how special it was, no one knew except for Tang Ao. Most of the people who came here today had treasures that they were interested in, so the snow beads they had on them would naturally be used to bid for the things they needed the most. Except for Tang Ao and Priest Mu, no one else was willing to bid for this unknown branch. The transportation platform flashed with white light, and Tang Ao's 500,000 mid-quality snow beads were sent over. At the same time, a jade box appeared on the transportation platform. Tang Ao opened the jade box and saw a crisp piece of tree branch. Normally, after a tree branch was broken, it would quickly turn yellow. However, this branch had been broken for who knew how long, but it was still green and fresh. Chapter 1036. The person in the third VIP room is called Tang Ao. His background is a bit mysterious, and he claims to be from the black-yellow continent. It is said that there is a tunnel in the ice-snow plain that connects the black-yellow continent and the five elements demonic realm. However, no one has known about it for thousands of years. Go check again. Similar conversations were taking place in almost every VIP room. However, the person in question, Tang Ao, was completely unaware that his actions had attracted so many people's attention. In fact, there would be 1 or 2 rich owners in almost every auction, and Tang Ao was not an exception. The reason why Tang Ao had attracted so much attention was because Tang Ao had forcibly occupied the VIP room of the Lightning Palace's young master, Lei Ming. Moreover, the item he was bidding on was also very strange. Whether it was the demonic race girl from the beginning or the tree branch just now, they were both very suspicious. Many of you should know about the item below. Many of you are here today for this item. Red Apricot's alluring voice was heard again. Hearing her words, many people's spirits were lifted. Red Apricot was very satisfied with everyone's gazes. She slowly opened the jade box in her hand, and within it was a broken golden scroll. This is an incomplete cultivation technique called the Heavenly Star Incantation. Although it is incomplete, its grade is very high, and it can be trained to above the life and death realm. As soon as Red Apricot finished speaking, the auction house immediately went into an uproar. Whether it was the audience or the VIP rooms, everyone's expression became extremely interesting. Although there was a rumor that this auction was going to auction a martial art above the life and death realm, no one believed that the auction would be willing to take out such a precious item. Tang Ao thought it was something important, but if it was only an astral-reaching realm martial art, Tang Ao had no interest in it. Tang Ao was a peak level 9 astral-reaching realm warrior in his previous life, and Tang Ao had quite a lot of astral-reaching realm martial arts, not to mention that this martial art was only an incomplete one. Therefore, Tang Ao was not interested in this martial art at all. Red Apricot did not know that Tang Ao was not interested in this martial art. Therefore, when she opened the jade box, she purposely looked in the direction of Tang Ao's VIP room. Although Tang Ao's background was mysterious in this auction, Tang Ao's wealth was not to be doubted. From the previous bids, it could be seen that Tang Ao was definitely a rich man. Miss Red Apricot, what is above life and life realm? Red Apricot mentioned Thunder Apricot. The realm above the life and death realm, is called the astral reaching realm. It's said that the leader of the Thunder Palace is an expert of this realm. Red Apricot intentionally mentioned the Thunder Palace. Tang, Apricot, Tang, Apricot, Apricot Star, Apricot, Apricot, Apricot Dragon Blue AO was. Apricot Red White Red Ice. AO. Apricot, AP. In another VIP room, Lei Ming heard Red Apricot's words and sneered. How could he not know what realm his father was at? Although he was infinitely close to the astral reaching realm, he was still stuck at the peak level of life and death realm. However, his brother might be able to reach that level. As Lei Ming was thinking, a servant suddenly walked in. Young master, the young master asked me to tell you that if there's an astral reaching realm martial arts scroll in the auction, you must get it. Chapter 1037. I bid 3 million mid-grade snow beads. In the room next to Tang Ao's, Chu Shuahan was the first to make a bid. She was clearly interested in the manual as well. Chu Shuahan waited for Tang Ao to make a bid after she made her bid. This was because Tang Ao had to bid for almost everything in the previous auction, other than elixirs and spiritual weapons. But this time, Chu Shuahan was a little puzzled. She waited for a long time, but Tang Ao didn't make a bid. 3,500,000 mid-grade snow beads. I am determined to get this cultivation scroll. Everyone, feel free to bid. An old man covered in a black cloak said in a sinister manner from the spectator seats. 5 million mid-grade snow beads. My lightning temple wants this manual. This time, it was Lei Ming who spoke, and he immediately raised the price by 1,500,000 mid-grade snow beads. 1,500,000 mid-grade snow beads was not a small sum. Some mid-grade tribes, and even the weaker ones, could not afford such a huge sum. After Lei Ming made his bid, the crowd didn't look at Lei Ming's room, but at Tang Ao's. Tang Ao's VIP room had always been used by Lei Ming. Tang Ao had been very high profile just now, and Lei Ming hadn't even participated in a single auction. Now that Lei Ming had made a bid, the crowd wanted to see Tang Ao's attitude. But Tang Ao disappointed them. Tang Ao was still playing with the branch. Tang Ao didn't care about the manual at all. Tang Ao didn't make a bid, but Chu Shuahan, who sat next to Tang Ao, made another bid. 6 million mid-grade snow beads and a special grade life and death pill. Chu Shuahan was from the Medicine Refinement Valley, and pills were her greatest advantage. A special grade life and death pill is so cheap. Tang Ao was a little puzzled. After all, there was a special grade life and death pill among the items he had put up for auction. In Tang Ao's opinion, the value of a special grade life and death mysterious pill could only be higher than this broken cultivation technique scroll. After all, a special grade life and death profound pill meant that his faction would have another life and death expert. Niece Shuahan, although your life and death pill is precious, I still can't give you this scroll. I offer 6 million mid-grade snow beads and a great void ginseng. A middle-aged man's voice came from one of the VIP rooms. Hearing this person's offer, Tang Ao was shocked. Tang Ao knew very well what the void ginseng was. The void ginseng had already surpassed the category of spiritual herbs and was a tier 1 immortal herb.
The Great Void Ginseng was useful for astral-reaching realm warriors as well as warriors under the astral-reaching realm. As long as one still had one last breath left, after taking a Great Void Ginseng, a warrior who was on the brink of death would be able to recover immediately. It could be said that within the astral-reaching realm, a Great Void Ginseng was equivalent to a life. Moreover, Tang Ao had the alchemy inheritance of the Shennong Emperor. Tang Ao knew that this Great Void Ginseng could also be used to concoct a kind of immortal pellet called the Great Void Reversing Pellet. The effect of this pellet was extremely miraculous. It could be consumed at any time. However, it would only take effect when the warrior was fatally wounded. For example, if a warrior consumed the Great Void Reversing Pellet and fought with other warriors, his heart would be shattered, and he would die without a doubt. However, after consuming the Great Void Reversal Pill, the pure medicinal power of the Great Void Reversal Pill would instantly heal his injuries, allowing him to escape or even kill his enemies. Senior, how would you like to exchange for this Great Void Ginseng? Tang Ao asked without much thought. Chapter 1038. Hearing Chun Nanha's soul remembrance message, Tang Ao did not say anything. At the same time, Tang Ao knew that he had underestimated this old man. In this room, Tang Ao had set up a soul remembrance isolation array. Although it was only rank 5, it was of a higher level than most of the arrays in the Winter Plain. However, this rank 5 array was like a decoration in front of Chun Nanha. Before Tang Ao realized that Chun Nanha was using his soul remembrance to spy on him, Chun Nanha's soul remembrance had already penetrated the array and started talking to him. On the top floor of the Gathering Treasure Pavilion, Chun Nanha put down a crystal-clear jade pendant. At this moment, the jade pendant that was shining brightly had already dimmed a bit. Just now, this soul jade had increased Chun Nanha's soul remembrance by 3 times, so naturally, it had consumed a lot of energy. This brat had set up a rank 5 soul remembrance isolation array in this room. If it were not for the fact that I had gotten this soul jade a long time ago, I might not have been able to suppress this brat this time. Sir, if you want to trade, please wait a moment. Although she was a bit angry, Red Apricot still smiled at Tang Ao. Tang Ao had already received Chun Nanha's warning, so naturally, he would not ask for a rebuff. This is my first time here, so I do not know the rules. Please forgive me, Lady Red Apricot. Although he said that, Tang Ao was still thinking about the Great Void Ginseng in that middle-aged man's hand. It was a life-saving item. Although Tang Ao couldn't concoct the Reversal Cosmos Pill now, with Tang Ao's talent and inheritance, it was only a matter of time before he could concoct the Reversal Cosmos Pill, and it wouldn't take too long. I bid 10 million mid-rank snow beads, plus a chance to enter the Thunder Secret Realm. Lei Ming's voice came out again. This astral-reaching realm martial art scroll was something he had to get. Plus, his brother had sent a message that even if he could not get it, he had to find other ways to get it. Right now, the core martial art of the Thunder Palace was called the 5 Thunder Spell, but it was also incomplete. This Heavenly Star art might be another part of the 5 Thunder Mantra. The original name of this martial art should have been the 5 Thunder Sky Star Spell, and its rank was not the astral reaching realm, but an even higher realm. In the VIP room next to Tang Ao's, Chu Xuehan didn't want to bid anymore after Lei Ming quoted the price. Although this cultivation manual was not bad, there were obviously other treasures in this auction. If she were to stake everything and buy this cultivation manual, then the other items would not have much to do with her. Increase the price and get this cultivation technique. Just as Chu Xuehan was about to give up, a voice rang in her ears, following which a white-haired old man with a youthful complexion appeared beside Chu Xuehan. Chu Xuehan was shocked to see this old man. Great-grandpa, why are you here? This old man was the old medicine king, Yao Mioran. What? Little girl, are you unhappy to see this old man? Yao Mioran patted Chu Xuehan's head dotingly. He was very satisfied with this little granddaughter of his, whether it was martial arts talent or alchemy talent.
Chu Shihuan rolled her eyes. Great-grandpa, I don't have that much money. If you want to increase the price, you will have to pay. There were a lot of good items in this auction, and the thing that Chu Shihuan wanted to buy had not appeared yet. Naturally, she didn't want to spend all her money. Chapter 1039. How come there are so many old monsters in the Winter Plain? After Medicine Wonder Man left, Tang Ao thought to himself. Just now, when Medicine Wonder Man appeared, Tang Ao had instantly sensed him. However, Medicine Wonder Man did not have any hostility towards Tang Ao, and Tang Ao would not pry on him either. However, Tang Ao could still vaguely sense Medicine Wonder Man's cultivation base, a ninth-layer life and death realm expert. With the appearance of such a powerful expert, Tang Ao was also somewhat interested in this astral-reaching realm martial art. No matter how rare an astral-reaching realm martial art was, if this martial art was just a normal one, then these powerful people would not care so much about it. Thinking of this, Tang Ao's soul remembrance pierced through the VIP room and instantly scanned the martial art inside the jade box. Because of the dense restrictions on the martial art, Tang Ao could only see a small part of the content. However, this small part was enough for Tang Ao to know that this martial art was not an astral-reaching realm martial art at all. It was only because the martial art was incomplete or some other reason that the Treasure Trove Tower could not recognize the martial arts grade. However, Tang Ao knew that this martial arts real grade was at least at the Chaotic Sky realm. I am somewhat interested in this martial art, and I can also give a satisfactory price. Tang Ao did not directly bid, but said this. Hong Xing's beautiful eyes froze, not expecting Tang Ao to suddenly say this. I wonder what price young Master Tang is offering. Just now, Tang Ao had called himself Tang Ao, and now, Hong Xing naturally called him young Master Tang. I have a complete astral-reaching realm martial art with me. I can make a copy and use it to bid for this incomplete martial art. But if I do that, it will be a bit of a loss for me. Tang Ao said lightly. Tang Ao said it casually, but it had caused quite a stir in the auction house. This incomplete martial art had already made a lot of people feel suffocated, and they did not expect Tang Ao to have a complete astral-reaching realm martial art. Ask him what he wants. Hong Xing couldn't make a decision on this matter, so she immediately reported it to the higher-ups, and Qin Nanha quickly responded to Hong Xing. As for Tang Ao having a complete astral-reaching realm martial art, Qin Nanha was not entirely convinced. However, if Tang Ao really had an astral-reaching realm martial art, then no matter what, he would have to get it. All these years, his cultivation had stagnated because of his cultivation method. He had also studied the Heavenly Star incantation. However, the Heavenly Star art was badly damaged and could not be cultivated at all. That was why Qin Nanha had someone auction it. I wonder what young Master Tang wants in exchange. Red Apricot said in a gentle voice. Does Treasure Trove Pavilion have cosmic ginseng? Right now, what Tang Ao wanted the most was naturally the cosmic ginseng. Tang Ao was sure that there was no treasure of this level in the black-yellow continent. But since the cosmic ginseng had appeared in the ice-snow plain, Tang Ao did not believe that only the middle-aged man had it. Young Master Tang, our Treasure Trove Pavilion is willing to use 2 cosmic ginseng and this incomplete Heavenly Star incantation to exchange for the original astral-reaching realm martial art. What do you think? Sure. Tang Ao did not waste any time and directly placed the martial art on the platform. Obtaining 2 cosmic ginseng was indeed a pleasant surprise for Tang Ao. If it were not for the spirit ice fruit being so special, Tang Ao would even want to ask if the Treasure Trove Pavilion had any. This time, the martial art Tang Ao sent did not appear in Hong Xing's hands, but directly on the top floor of the Treasure Trove Pavilion. Chapter 1040. Although Tang Ao did not train the mysterious heaven art in this life, Tang Ao knew that if he could find the 3rd volume of the mysterious heaven art,
The rank of the mysterious heaven art would not be any weaker than the ancient god moving sky art that he was currently training. Moreover, the mysterious heaven art had two special features. One was that it was very compatible and would not clash with any martial skills or secret arts. Secondly, the spirit power trained with the mysterious heaven art was extremely dense, which was far beyond that of warriors of the same realm. Chun Shou held the first volume of Tang Ao's mysterious heaven art, his old eyes filled with shock. As the leader of the treasure trove tower, he had seen countless rare treasures in the past few years. However, it was his first time being shocked like this. What the Ice Snow Plain lacked the most was not all kinds of rare treasures, but high-rank martial arts. The reason why there were no top astral-reaching realm warriors in the Ice Snow Plain was not because of the thin natural spirit power, but because of the lack of high-rank martial arts. The mysterious heaven art in his hand was undoubtedly a martial art that could be trained to the astral-reaching realm. It was just that Chun Shou had an illusion. This cultivation technique was clearly complete, but Chun Shou felt that this cultivation technique was very incomplete. "Brother Shou, what do you think?" Chun Nanha looked at Chun Shou's ever-changing expression, not knowing if this martial art of Tang Ao was real or not. If this martial art was real, then the power of the treasure trove tower would reach a whole new level in the future. "I will trade with this brat. This martial art is real, but there seems to be something wrong with it. But with my eyes, I can't see it." Chun Shou had always been decisive. It was the first time he had hesitated for so long. On the auction stage, Red Apricot, who had received Chun Nanha's soul message, smiled at Tang Ao's VIP room, then said, "Mr. Tang Ao, our treasure trove tower will trade with you for this martial art. Please check what you want." Just as she finished speaking, two jade boxes appeared on the stage in front of Tang Ao. The jade box naturally contained the heavenly star art. However, the restriction on the heavenly star art had already been removed. What Tang Ao cared about now was not this cultivation method, but the thing inside the other jade box. Tang Ao opened the jade box in anticipation. Indeed, there was a snow-white ginseng inside. Even though this was his first time, Tang Ao was sure that this was the legendary Tier 1 immortal herb, Great Void Ginseng. With these two Great Void Ginseng, Tang Ao could concoct two Great Void reversal pills, even though each person could only consume the pills once. However, this kind of treasure could be used to exchange for better treasures in the future or to give it to a friend. When Tang Ao said that he would use the complete cultivation technique to exchange for the incomplete cultivation technique, Lei Ming and the others knew that they had no chance. What was the most precious thing in the Winter Plain? Naturally, it was a high-level cultivation technique, especially a complete one. Since Tang Ao could take out an astral reaching technique, Treasure Trove Pavilion simply had no reason not to exchange it. "Tell my big brother about this." After thinking for a while, Lei Ming still decided not to make a decision. Tang Ao dared to take out an astral reaching realm cultivation technique in public, so he naturally had the confidence. Plus, Lei Ming knew that Lei Ming was not the only one who had their eyes on Tang Ao. Of course, Tang Ao also knew that with him being so high profile, he would definitely be targeted by others. However, Tang Ao was not worried at all. In Tang Ao's storage ring, there were 3 rank 6 teleportation talismans. These 3 teleportation talismans were made by Tang Ao with a lot of effort. Up until now, Tang Ao had not found any forbidden formation in the Winter Plain that could block out the rank 6 teleportation talismans. Chapter 1041. The next auction item is also one of the finale treasures of this auction. This is a damaged treasure. Although it is damaged, its grade is extremely high. According to Divine Armament Valley's Li Tianjun, this treasure is an immortal artifact above spirit artifact. Just as Red Apricot finished speaking, a full moon scimitar without a blade tip appeared in front of everyone. Tang Ao wasn't unfamiliar with immortal artifacts. It was just that in Black-Yellow Continent, immortal artifacts were called divine armaments. However, in most places, immortal artifacts were still called immortal artifacts. Currently, Tang Ao had 3 peak immortal artifacts: Primordial Sacred Sky Bow, Farmer God Cauldron, and Netherworld Sword. Although Tang Ao had 3 immortal artifacts, no one would complain about having too many immortal artifacts. Since he had encountered it, Tang Ao naturally had to take a look. Tang Ao swept out his soul remembrance and scanned the full moon scimitar. After observing it, Tang Ao knew that red apricot wasn't lying. This full moon scimitar was indeed an immortal artifact. Its grade was around 3rd grade. However, due to the lack of a blade tip, this full moon scimitar's appearance wasn't fake. Moreover, a lot of the inscription arrays inside the scimitar had been damaged, so its usage was greatly reduced. If he bought this scimitar and used it as a weapon, it definitely wouldn't work. This full moon scimitar has been appraised by our treasure gathering tower's treasure appraiser master. It is a damaged 3rd grade immortal artifact. This scimitar was obtained in Xitigarbus Cemetery. Not long after Xitigarbus Cemetery opens, if we can find the blade tip of this scimitar, it will be a complete 3rd grade immortal artifact. Therefore, the starting bid for this scimitar is 3 million mid-grade snow beads. Each bid increment must be at least 100,000 mid-grade snow beads. This scimitar isn't bad. 3,100,000 mid-grade snow beads. In Lei Ming's VIP room, Frenzy Blade's voice was indifferent. 3,500,000 snow pearls. If I can win a bid, I would like to ask Lady Red Apricot to tell me where you found this scimitar. After I enter the Xitigarbus Cemetery, I will be able to find the tip of the scimitar. For million mid-grade snow pearls. This time, it was Tang Ao who made the bid. Snow bead could only be used in the snow plane, so it was useless for Tang Ao to keep it. Even though this saber was useless to Tang Ao, it was still a grade 3 immortal artifact. After melting it down, he might be able to extract some decent immortal materials. Surnamed Tang, do you think you're the only one who can bid in this auction? A burly man slammed the table and stood up from the audience. He was obviously very dissatisfied with Tang Ao. In this auction, Tang Ao had already bid for a lot of good things. While people were thinking about him, they were also getting more and more dissatisfied. Naturally, the highest bidder wins the auction. If you want to bid, then bid. If you don't want to bid, then don't talk nonsense. Tang Ao naturally wouldn't give this kind of person face. If they still had to be modest in the auction, then in the future, all the treasures would be divided equally among the martial artists of the world, and there would be no need to fight over them. However, this was clearly impossible. In the world of martial artists, the weak were prey to the strong, and the strong were respected. If they didn't fight for it, only death awaited them. 4. 1 million mid-grade snow pearls. This time, it was the person in the VIP room opposite Tang Ao who made the bid. This person had been in this auction for a long time, but this was the first time he made a bid. 5 million mid-grade snow pearls. Tang Ao still had over 10 million mid-grade snow pearls on him. Since he'd already made up his mind, he would naturally not give up so easily. However, after Tang Ao increased the bid, the person said indifferently, 1 million mid-grade snow pearls. 6 million snow pearls. By then, Tang Ao had already figured out this person's objective. This person was hostile towards him and was deliberately going against him. In the VIP room opposite Tang Ao, Wang Yang sneered and continued, 1 million snow pearls. Tang Ao had taken the limelight in this auction, causing Wang Yang to feel very displeased. Thus, Wang Yang decided to toy with Tang Ao to vent his anger. Chapter 1042. You don't want any more? Tang Ao's words were completely out of Wang Yang's expectations. Therefore, after Tang Ao finished speaking, Wang Yang was stunned. Wang Yang did not have any intention of buying this broken immortal item. The reason why he raised the price recklessly with Tang Ao was because he wanted to go against Tang Ao. In Wang Yang's view, as long as Tang Ao participated in the bidding, he would not give up until he got it. He did not expect that Tang Ao actually did not want it this time. If Tang Ao did not want it. Would he have to buy it himself? Wang Yang had come here to buy a treasure. The snow bead he was carrying was something his family had asked him to buy. But now, did he dare to not buy this broken immortal item? There was a big taboo in the Cloud Foothill auction, and that was no careless bidding. It was not his first time coming to the Cloud Foothill auction, so he naturally knew this. Young Master Tang really does not want it anymore. Hearing Tang Ao's words, Red Apricot was also a bit surprised. After all, there was nothing that Tang Ao had not bid on before that Tang Ao had set his heart on buying. This time, Tang Ao seemed to be very interested in this broken immortal item. But why did Tang Ao stop bidding halfway? At this moment, even if Tang Ao increased the price one more time, Wang Yang would definitely not increase the price. Tang Ao did not care about Red Apricot's astonishment. This broken immortal item was something that Tang Ao could do without. This Wang Yang wanted to make him a fool, so Tang Ao naturally would not let him have his way. This friend wants this broken immortal item so much. How can this Tang take it away from you? Tang Ao did not increase the price, but responded with a light voice. But Tang Ao's words made people roll their eyes. Those few things that Tang Ao had bought before, there were a lot of people who wanted them, especially that broken astral reaching realm manual. But even so, Tang Ao had never been modest. 6. 1 million snow pearls going once. 6. 1 million snow pearls going twice. If there is no higher bid, this damaged immortal artifact belongs to young Master Wang. Are there any higher bids? Hong Apricot looked around, but it was clear that no one was willing to use over 6 million mid-grade snow beads to buy a damaged immortal artifact. 6,100,000 going thrice. Deal. This crescent blade belongs to young Master Wang. In Wang Yang's VIP room, the teleportation platform lit up. This was for Wang Yang to place the snow bead on the teleportation platform. As long as Wang Yang handed over the snow bead, the incomplete immortal artifact would be teleported over. Wang Yang's delay in paying the snow pearls made Red Apricot frown. In the VIP room, Wang Yang took a deep breath and took out a storage ring with trembling hands. He then placed the storage ring on the teleportation platform. These snow pearls were sent by his family to buy a treasure. This treasure was a bunch of keys. This bunch of keys might not be useful to others, but it would be quite useful to his Wang family. Before coming to the Cloud Foothill auction, the leader of his Wang family had emphasized over and over again that no matter what methods he had to use, he had to get this bunch of keys, even at the cost of offending any forces. But now he had used the snow bead from the keys to buy a damaged immortal artifact. When he returned this time, he might have to face an unimaginable punishment. Along with the blinding white light, a sharp crescent blade also appeared on the teleportation platform. However, at this moment, Wang Yang was not in the mood to look at the crescent blade anymore. He was thinking about whether there was still a chance for him to recover from his mistake. Chapter 1043. However, back then, Tang Ao and the other two's keys had been reforged. However, this set of keys had a heavy and ancient feeling that couldn't be faked. It was as old as the spirit locks. Tang Ao was very surprised that something like this would appear. Tang Ao still didn't know anything about the spirit lock's origin. However, since the spirit lock's key appeared here, Hongxing would probably introduce some information. Haha, the item being auctioned this time is a bit special. As you can see, it's this set of keys. This set of keys was obtained by our Treasure Gathering Tower's Grand Elder, Chun Nanha, in the Xidagarba Cemetery. According to our guesses, it should be a key to open some kind of ruin or mechanism. However, over the years, our Treasure Gathering Tower has sent countless people into the Xidagarba Cemetery, but we still haven't found the place that needs this key. Therefore, we are taking out a portion of the keys to auction. Although Tang Ao had previously guessed that the spirit locks might be related to the mysterious Xidagarba Cemetery, he couldn't confirm it. Now that he heard Hongxing say this, Tang Ao was sure that the spirit locks were from the Xidagarba Cemetery. However, Tang Ao didn't know what the spirit locks were locking. The starting price of this set of keys is 1 million mid-grade snow beads. Each increment must be no less than 100,000 snow beads. The bidding begins now. On the auction stage, Hong Xing said softly, 1,500,000. In the audience seats, a brawny man with a large hammer tattoo on his arm said. Seeing his attire and the tattoo on his arm, everyone immediately recognized his origin. He was a Divine Armament Valley's refiner. Hearing someone bid, Hong Xing's eyes flashed with a strange light, and an undetectable soul remembrance instantly marked this martial artist. The soul remembrance mark naturally wasn't Hong Xing, but a black-robed old man in the shadows of the auction house. 1,600,000. This time, the bid was made by Tang Ao. Although Tang Ao really wanted this set of keys, Tang Ao faintly felt that this set of keys wasn't so simple. The instant Tang Ao bid, Tang Ao clearly felt a soul remembrance envelop him, as if it wanted to see through him. However, this soul remembrance was very obscure. If it weren't for the fact that his soul remembrance far exceeded that of a martial artist of the same realm as him, coupled with the J-Bone life spirit constantly strengthening his soul remembrance, he probably wouldn't have been able to detect this soul remembrance. Sure enough, there's a problem. Tang Ao thought in his heart, but his expression didn't change. In a dark corner of the auction hall, an old man in a black robe stood there quietly. His entire body seemed to have melded into the darkness. Even when his soul remembrance swept over, it was very difficult to detect where a person was standing. Tang Ao knew that the soul remembrance spying on him came from this direction, but when Tang Ao used his soul remembrance to observe, he didn't discover anything. After pondering for a moment, Tang Ao activated his sky polar pupils and started searching the area. Under the detection of the sky polar eyes, Tang Ao was shocked to discover that in the dark corner of the wall stood a black-robed old man with a gloomy expression. At this moment, it was this person who was using his soul remembrance to spy on him. Although he was shocked, Tang Ao's expression didn't change at all. The old man's soul remembrance stopped on Tang Ao's body for a while. After finding nothing, he planted a soul remembrance mark on Tang Ao's body and then moved away. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.